Just saw Jace Cundy. Both he and I at that particular time were saying, forget about the title. They're not ready. This is a really long season. I'd take that final Champions League place right now. And I'd still take that right now. I think we're trying to get the combination of the Europa Conference League, which they should win, although the final itself would be the biggest, most difficult game by far. And if he can finish top 5 with all that's gone on from the start of the season, I think he's done very well indeed.
There are one or two senior pros that were frozen out in the summer that he allowed to leave. Now, whether that was a club-mandated decision to get Conor Gallagher and Ben Chilwell off the wage bill, I don't know. Raheem Sterling obviously falls into that category as well. The truth is that he decided that there were senior players that he wasn't going to include in the squad, or the club decided that. So
that's a big difference, though, Sam.
But they had that's a big difference. My point is they had a bigger squad. And I think that's why
Poch went, whether he walked or whether he was sacked, he wasn't happy with the decisions being made by the hierarchy.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's not Maresca.
But if we know that that's the case, the truth is that Chalobah was allowed to leave, and then he brought him back.
Yeah, but again, who was that?
Well,
I understand
it was him.
I heard that actually it was Poch in the last season.
And I heard
what
that
was going to be happening.
No, I'm joking.
Well, what did you hear? That it was going to be cold tonight.
I heard that last year's coaching staff couldn't believe that they loaned him out and were giggling when they brought him back in January.
Well, we all were.
Okay. All right. Listen. I think the future is, it's a big positive if he reaches the Champions League.
I think what we've worked out is that it's divided.
It is. It is. But also, it's interesting to understand what the target might be for him, depending on if he does make it to the Champions League. The Chelsea then need to make another step. And does that mean they give him the resources that you mentioned to go and challenge possibly for a title? I wonder if he would be the manager for it. We'll find out in due course.
You won't let me answer that, will you?
No, we've got a break. And that was all thanks to Ladbrokes, though. It's 18+, begambleaware.org.
The big preview on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Half an hour into events at Villa Park. Has there been a breakthrough? Abigail Davis.
Still nothing yet. It is still goalless here at Villa Park. A tremendous game of football, though. Aston Villa continue to ask so many questions. Onana whipping a delightful swirling delivery into the area for Morgan Rogers. He was there to meet it at the near post, just tried to guide it back across his body and into the back of the net, forcing a fine fingertip save to poke the ball just wide of the far post from Kinski. Villa have a free kick halfway inside the Spurs half right now. I have to say their build-up play has been absolutely exquisite in this opening half. Their thinking, their intelligence, the pace, the skill in this Villa side just undoing Spurs at the back at the moment. So surprising that they have only registered 2 shots on target up to the 34-minute mark. It is Aston Villa 0, Spurs 0.
Few yellow cards being handed out. Archie Graves just sived down Ollie Watkins. He's got in the book as well. Big game over on Talksport 2 right now. Aston Villa against Spurs. But you're listening to Game Night on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now. Just like Chelsea against Manchester United live tonight. You can search Now Sports. We've got Walsall against Chesterfield in the League 2 playoffs. That's just underway on the Talksport app. But we will have kick-off here at Stamford Bridge next.
Hard-hitting football coverage. Saturday afternoon.
The FA Cup final live on Talksport.
Oh, what about that?
Crystal Palace versus Manchester City.
Kick-off 4:30.
Russell right outside.
The FA Cup final live. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City
on Talksport.
The games, the goals, the glory. The FA Cup final live on Talksport.
Oh my word!
Tomorrow afternoon, the pre-match party begins at 12 noon with Adi Oladipo and Rory Jennings live from Box Park.
Oh, it's in!
From 3, Adrian Durham will bring you all the blistering build-up live from Wembley. Ahead of unmissable full kick-by-kick commentary from 4:30 at Crystal Palace versus Manchester City in the FA Cup final.
Brilliant, brilliant goal!
With fiery full fan feedback after the final whistle.
Absolutely sensational.
The FA Cup final live. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. Tomorrow from 12 noon on Talksport.
You cannot underestimate the importance of this match. It is yet another clash between blue and red.
And it's tucked in by Palmer, and Palmer shows how to finish all right.
Out! Oh, it is brilliant! What a way to seal it! He's pinged it in from 50 yards.
What a fantastic finish. This is going to be Premier League football at full pelt, live on Talksport.
Well, tonight is all about fighting for the Champions League and also preparing for the Europa League. What that means for the Premier League, I'm not quite sure. Will it be the English top flight as we know it tonight, or maybe a pale imitation? We'll find out how much Manchester United really care about tonight. They head to Chelsea, live and exclusive to national radio right here on Talksport. We kind of know Spurs aren't too fussed about the result away at Aston Villa, and the pressure is building. Let's head back to Villa Park and get the latest from Abigail Davies.
Yeah, still goalless here at Villa Park. 36 minutes on the clock, but it is Villa who are creating all of the chances. Now, Spurs have looked dangerous when they've got the ball down the left-hand side on the counter-attack. They're just not able to get out of their half too often at the moment, though. Asensio has just come agonisingly close to giving them the advantage from the edge of the area. He just cut in to create some space for himself to get his shot away, and it was marginally close to going into the back of the net. But it remains goalless here at Villa Park. 37 minutes on the clock.
Chesterfield head to Walsall, looking to overturn a 2-goal deficit in the League Two playoff semi-finals. The latest with Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Well, it's 0-0 here, 7.5 minutes played, and if we wondered whether Walsall were going to sit back on that 2-goal lead or go for it, well, we've got an answer in the early stages, because they really are going for it. Jamie Jellis in behind the defence, tight angle. Boot made a good save, and then Nathan Simway again down the right-hand side, jinked one way, then the other. He got a shot away, which was deflected for a corner. It's been all Walsall in the early exchanges. Pretty much a full house here. It's going to be pretty much at capacity. Incredible atmosphere and adrenaline pumping through both sets of supporters here. But it's Walsall with their noses in front on aggregate 2-0, but it's goalless here at the moment.
I can already tell we're also going to get a fantastic atmosphere inside Stamford Bridge. The sun just beginning to drop beneath the stand away to our right-hand side, and I can already tell thermals were a right choice for this evening. I'll be chilly a little bit later on. Hello, good evening. If you're just joining us, I'm Hugh Wizencroft alongside Sam Matterface and the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. Let's talk Manchester United very, very quickly. Clearly Spurs want to get out of Villa Park with no injuries. What is tonight all about for Ruben Amorim and a strong Manchester United side? Scott?
Yeah, look, I mean, it is interesting how he's gone strong, and clearly he believes that, I mean, you've got to hope that people don't get injured, but actually you get right. There's a different philosophy from what Ange Postecoglou is perhaps feeling. Look, I think what he's trying to do, and listening to him post-match as well, he's trying to create a culture that every single game matters. Now, I know what you mean, and we can certainly argue that, actually, do you know what, does this one really? But he's trying to look at the bigger picture here. This is Manchester United we're talking about. Every time we play, he said it should hurt when we lose, and it doesn't seem to hurt. It's not the end of the world. So I think that's what he's trying to do. And obviously, if he were to put a bunch of kids out and Chelsea were to win 4-0, it's the worst possible preparation for Wednesday as well. So look, we'll have to wait and see how it goes, and we do hope that no one gets injured.
Just a quick word on Amorim. He took over at both Sporting and Braga mid-season. He didn't have a situation like this. I mean, he did very well at Braga. He won the League Cup. He took 25 points from a possible 27 at the end of the last 9 league games. He was in charge of Sporting's final 11 league games that season when he took over the club, and he lost only twice. I mean, it's been night and day to that at Manchester United.
What he did do, though, in that first summer at Sporting, he got rid of a lot of players and he brought a lot of players in. And he is hoping, especially with him saying the club has to be brave, he's put that right on the hierarchy there to say, I'm telling you what I want. I'm going indirectly out there to say I know what I want. Back me.
He said tonight coming into this that his players will also be playing for a spot in that Europa League final, and I am looking closely at Mason Mount, who I think's had some of his best performances for Manchester United in the Europa League, some key goals off the bench for them during the campaign, including a stunner in the semi-final second leg. He returns to Stamford Bridge tonight, but again he will want to impress. What are you hoping to see from him?
I'm hoping to see a Mason Mount that we saw in the Chelsea shirt, because he was not just a very good club player, he was an England international. And unfortunately for him, the injuries have been so bad at Old Trafford, his career hasn't properly started. Now, it could go one of two ways, but he is very mentally strong. When you play against your old club, you are desperate to show just that little bit more. But every time he gets on the ball, certainly in the first half anyway, he will get booed. So he's got to try and react. But I think Ruben Amorim probably knows 9, if not 10, of his starting 11 on Wednesday. But you're right to pinpoint Mason Mount. He is one who, if he has a blinder tonight, he's got to start Wednesday.
Looking down as the players come onto the pitch, it being Chelsea's final home game of the season. They got a big, of course, Chelsea lion, pride of London, London first, London's finest, pride of London away to our right-hand side. And it looks like the Chelsea players have their own kids and also family members as mascots this evening. Only one mascot for Manchester United, but he is wearing a Bruno Fernandes 8 shirt. I was hoping that was going to be the only Bruno Fernandes shirt we were going to see in this stadium.
He might play instead of him then.
I hope he does, to be perfectly honest. Big night for both sides this evening. Very quickly, Scott, are you hoping then that Chelsea take the initiative tonight? It clearly means more for them, and try and put it on Manchester United early in this first half.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this game is absolutely everything for Chelsea. And to be fair, when you think about where Manchester United are, both mentally and in the table, if Chelsea don't go on and win this game, then they don't deserve to finish in the top 5. The most difficult one of the 2 remaining games is the City ground. Win this game first.
There's toddlers running around this pitch at the moment. I think people, some of them are taking a family moment, not quite realising that Daddy's got a big game to play first. Big night in the race for the top 5. Aston Villa and Spurs approaching half-time over on Talksport 2. Villa hoping to get the job done, but it's still goalless in that one. Chelsea know what they need to do tonight. Beat Manchester United here. Nottingham Forest on the final day, and Enzo Maresca will take the Blues back into the Champions League. Fail, and there will still be big questions over his future, despite what the club might say. Will the Red Devils have the brains on Bilbao tonight and maybe take their eyes off the prize? Big night, as I say. Chelsea versus Manchester United, live and exclusive on Talksport with Chelsea FA Cup winner Scott Minto and Talksport Sam Matterface.
Well, the gap between 3rd and 7th going into the penultimate weekend is just 4 points. Chelsea desperate to get back into the cup they cherished the most after a 2-season absence. Manchester United want to return to the Champions League too, but in that quest, tonight is irrelevant. They have a playoff with Spurs on Wednesday night for the right to lift the Europa League and maybe more significantly return to the big time. Chelsea have the Conference League final to plot through, but that's 10 days away, and by the time that comes around in Wroclaw, live on Talksport with Scott and I, they hope to have secured a place in the top 5. We are on the eve of the continent's Big Bash, and both Chelsea and Manchester United have their minds on a Eurovision. Here's the 2 teams. Chelsea with Robert Sanchez in goal, James, Adebayo, Colwell and Cucurella at the back 4, Fernandes and Caicedo in the middle with Palmer in the 10, Madueke and George out wide, and it's Neto through the middle. We'll see how that develops actually, because Tariq George has gone very central as they line up to take the kick-off here. Our referee is Chris Kavanagh. Manchester United have Onana in goal, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw, Diallo, Casemiro, Mazraoui and Dorgu, the midfield quartet with Mount and Fernandes behind Højlund. It's red shirts, white shorts, black socks for Manchester United. Chelsea, blue shirts, blue shorts, white socks. They did release their new home kit today, but they cannot wear it until the Club World Cup because they've done a deal with an investment portfolio for the front of shirt sponsor to the end of this current season that won't be on it next year. The boos that you heard were for Mason Mount. He always gets a hot reception now. He is returning in different colours. There is a deep story, a deep dive into the scenario that happened with Mason Mount that probably will be aired at some stage, but now's not the time. As Manchester United try to build coming forward, Mazraoui playing on the right hand side, plays it out towards this near touch line, and he tries to move forward. Interestingly, Ahmad is playing as one of the 10s behind Rasmus Højlund with Mason Mount, and Bruno Fernandes playing just a little bit deeper. It means that Mazraoui is playing as the right wing back.
Yeah, and it's also interesting with Chelsea as well. We weren't quite sure who was going to play up front. It is Tyreek George, the youngster, who's done very well actually when he's played in Europe and come on the pitch, even in the Premier League, as almost a centre forward. It's a very, very big ask for the youngster to play that when really predominantly he's a winger, but he's certainly done very well. And of course we know that Pedro Neto and Noni Madueke are more than comfortable out on the wing, and it's Madueke on the left where he's normally on the right, and Pedro Neto on the right.
Yeah, and Tyreek George making his first Premier League start in Chelsea colours tonight as the ball goes back to Andre Onana inside the 18-yard box. It's flicked out to the far side. Dorgu keeps it in. Mason Mount tries to hold it up. Tosin Adarabioyo comes behind him. Bender Fernandez collides with him. Those two had a bit of a fracas last year, Mount and Fernandez. Palmer dispossessed, but won back by Moises Caicedo, the Chelsea Player of the Year, on the cusp of the centre circle. He sends it out towards Cucurella, whose hair is flopping behind him as he moves up into an advanced left position. He likes to get forward and add to the attack, does Mark Cucurella. So Jim Ratcliffe is here tonight in the director's box with Jason Wilcox, the sporting directors. You might remember that he made a bid to buy Chelsea whilst Chelsea were under the government sanctions from Roman Abramovich. Didn't get his hands on the club. That in the end went to the Clear Lake Capital and Todd Bowley Consortium, who have owned it ever since 2022. Ball sent forward out towards the near touchline, headed away by Mazraoui into the path of Amad Diallo. Scurries away over the halfway line, plays it back in field towards Mazraoui. A chance to cross goes his way, but he decides not to do that. Instead it goes back to Fernandez, who's balling towards the far post. Is diverted into the air by the boot of Reece James, who got there just in front of Mason Mount, who'd made an intelligent run into the box. It's 0-0.
I've made about 6 different scribbles and moving our players around to what we thought there might have been in the systems, not just from Chelsea but from Manchester United. But I mean, it's about trying to know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, square pegs, square holes if you possibly can. And it's a pretty open game at the moment where United, they want to try and get in the front foot if they possibly can.
Half-time at Villa Park, Abigail Davis.
Yeah, goalless. Villa's fluid passing movement, seeing them advance into dangerous areas, wave after wave of fast, intelligent attacking bursts. But as the game progressed, Spurs started to demonstrate the danger they boast on the counter-attack. Villa's build-up play, their quick, incisive passing movement saw them dazzle for large spells. Ollie Watkins played a lovely 1-2 with Kamara before a tame effort trickled into the Spurs keeper's arms. Asensio had a couple of shots go high and wide. McGinn also tried his luck from range, but they didn't really test Kinski enough, and as a result it is Aston Villa 0, Spurs 0.
Moises Caicedo has just bounded forward, taking on 3 United players and taking them out of the game. He's found Palmer, 5 yards edge of the area, sends a ball to the far post. Madueke over the bar. From 6 yards out, it was a brilliant move started by Moises Caicedo on the edge of his own penalty area. He jinked in past 2 players, past Mount, past Fernandez. He bounded forward beyond Casemiro, fed the ball to Cole Palmer, whose delicate pass from the right edge of the box found Madueke, who blasted over the top, 0-0.
Yeah, and Cole Palmer found, first of all, brilliant run from Caicedo, as you said. Went past 3 players and then laid it to Cole Palmer, who is exactly where he wants to be. Under Pochettino, is more off the right, coming in. Under Maresca, he's been as a number 10, but he's quite happy in that sort of just central right, on his left foot, coming inside. Brilliant running behind for Madueke, and I understand why he had the shot, but if he was able to look up and just put it across the 6-yard box first time, Tyreek George was completely on his own, and it would have been a simple tap-in.
Also tonight, Talksport 2, you just heard from Abigail Davis. We've got live commentary of Aston Villa against Tottenham. Chesterfield Walsall live on the Talksport app, the second leg of the playoff this evening as well. Walsall leading by 2-0 that game at the Bescott Stadium. Jeff Peters will keep us up to date here, and we'll keep you in touch with what happens at Quail Hollow throughout the evening in the PGA Golf. Back away to our left-hand side, Manchester United have possession. 0-0 the score.
They're doing okay, Spurs, with a dodgy side put out, allegedly.
Still 0-0.
Still 0-0.
A ball up towards Højlund, holds it away from Tosin Adarabioyo. Out it goes towards this near side and is collected by Amad Diallo, then gives it to Bruno Fernandes, who swirls the ball beautifully out to the far side, taken down by Dorgu, then back into Mount. Mount just overran the ball under pressure from Neto. It goes back to the left and it's collected by Luke Shaw, and then Maguire chips it back out to Dorgu. Bit of room for him over on that far side. Mount just infield in the inside left position, trying to turn and funnel it through the middle. Still fighting for the ball, but it breaks off Tyreek George and out towards the near side. There's no out ball there for Chelsea, and runs towards the near touchline where Lindelof retrieves it, and he manages to get it back narrowly into the centre of the midfield before they build again. Out it goes wide by Fernandes. A lot of space out wide for Dorgu, who's crossing to the boxes too close to Sanchez this time. It's gathered by the Spanish goalkeeper, and it will be cleared away. Chelsea have won just one of their last 14 games with Manchester United. They will hope that United are slightly distracted by that final in midweek. That would only be natural. But at the moment, it's a pretty open game, and Madueke trying to get the better of Lindelof, who has started to come to the fore for Manchester United in recent weeks.
Yeah, he did well in Bilbao, didn't he? He did well just there, but that ball wasn't quite long enough from Palmer there. Madueke certainly got the beating in terms of sheer pace, but Lindelof had just dropped off, and as I say, there wasn't enough on that pass.
Fascinating with Lindelof, isn't it? He was in the same squad at Benfica as Ruben Amorim back in the 2013, 14, 15 seasons. And those two knew each other as senior and coming force. Now he is the manager of Victor Lindelof, given away by Chelsea, and Fernandes has sent it down to the right-hand side after good work from Højlund. Mazraoui has joined the attack, and he is now down the right side of the Chelsea penalty area. Here's Amad Diallo, who takes over now, looks to try and go through the legs of Colwell, claimed it hit his hand. The referee is not having any of it, and it's brought away by Colwell into an advanced position, and then Tyreek George tries to play it back down the left, but Lindelof and Maguire cut off that run. A little flick, a back heel from Maguire gets him out of a tight spot down this right hand side. And the Manchester United fans that have travelled down tonight, and by the way, bearing in mind that it isn't easy to get back from here from an 8:15 kickoff, by the way, on a Friday night. Boy, have they packed that away end, the Manchester United fans.
I don't want to say not all of them live in Manchester, but
come on.
Sorry.
Palmer and Fernandes have collided. Fernandes has gone down. The last thing the Manchester United fans that have made it here tonight want is a injury to Bruno Fernandes. The ball is out of play over on the far side. Hugh Wozencroft is shaking his head at you, by the way.
He doesn't live in Manchester.
He did, though, didn't you, for a little while? Sanchez trying to give the ball back to Rasmus Højlund. And when he eventually gets it forward to the halfway line, it's nudged away by Casemiro. Again, Amad Diallo picks it up. And Manchester United coming forward again, and Amad Diallo's gone on the outside, the inside, and then sort of tied himself in a bit of a knot there, actually, because he had the beating of Colwell if he'd continued to go down the outside. But Chelsea can't really get hold of the ball at the moment, and Manchester United just starting to find their rhythm in the game. We played 9 minutes, it's 0-0.
Yeah, United are playing like the home sides. They're having much more control of the midfield and actually not giving Chelsea any time at all on the ball. And it's Chelsea playing like the away side, trying to get on the counter-attack.
Amad Diallo, again, he's just given the ball away cheaply. And then the referee's got in the way. Tyreek George plays it against him. And Cole Palmer is going absolutely bonkers.
Can I get myself out of my previous statement by just saying that Manchester United is the biggest club in the country and one of the very biggest in the world. So, of course, they're not all going to be from Manchester. No, it didn't work, did it?
Well, Chelsea weren't at their very best, actually, even before Nicholas Jackson was sent off against Newcastle at the weekend. They had a situation where they had fewer shots than usual, fewer shots on target than usual, fewer touches in the opponent's box than usual, and less possession than usual. And obviously he was sent off after 36 minutes, but Chelsea were already 1-0 down by then. Their away record has been particularly poor, but their home record is very good. Manchester United just haven't been very good in the Premier League for quite some time. But Ruben Amorim was pretty strident tonight. They wanted to play the same way as the final. It's the only way to prepare for Bilbao, he said. There's enough recovery time. We have to perform in the Premier League. That was his insistence. They've started well, but Chelsea coming forward now. Cucurella trying to play out on the left-hand side. But the game has been halted because of a head injury on halfway. Enzo Maresca is not happy at all. The free kick, well, if it is a free kick, it's going to be given on the halfway line. There's certainly a pause in play. And as a result of that, we're going to head off to the playoff game at the Bescot. And here's Jeff Peters.
It's Walsall 0, Chesterfield 0. Walsall 2-0 to the good on aggregate, of course. Chellis and a Simway with early chances. Metcalf for the visitors with a volley, which Chang cleared off the line. Still very tense here. No goals on the night. Walsall lead Chesterfield 2-0 on aggregate.
I was on a tube platform the other day, and I thought I saw Jeff Peters, but it was the guy had his head down in his phone and he wasn't looking up. And I thought, that's definitely Jeff. And you know, like when you do that thing where you sort of walk around them and trying to sort of crane your neck to have to make sure.
And he called the police.
And then, as I sort of bent down and had a better look, I realised, oh no, that's not Jeff.
Did you say anything?
No. He just looked at me as if I was absolutely crackers, which wasn't too far wrong. You're listening to Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. It's like Chelsea versus Manchester United live right now. Search Now Sports. Ball out of play far side. Drop ball was given for that head injury to Maguire. It went back to the right-hand side, and then there was a foul on Enzo Fernandez. It is a free kick to Chelsea on the right side of the box. Livingston have taken the lead against Partick Thistle in the Scottish Premiership relegation playoff. It's 1-0 to Livingston. And here it's still 0-0. And this game kicked off at 8:15 tonight. Oh dear. Tosin Adarabioyo leaving it for James. James leaving it for Robert Sanchez. The referee allowing Robert Sanchez to then come out and take it. But Chelsea have taken an age to get this forward. He's going to kick it long now, Robert Sanchez. Kicking was a bit of a problem on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, look, after initial first couple of minutes, both teams looking like they're trying to be positive. It's been a very scrappy last 5 or so minutes, isn't it? United, to be fair, as I say, they're not giving Chelsea any time on the ball, hustling and harrying, and this is exactly the type of performance that Ruben Amorim wants.
Bruno Fernandes has done brilliantly to shut down Caicedo and then Colwill, and Chelsea haven't got out of the defensive third that they're operating in from that long goal kick that Sanchez was taking from the right fullback area. They're building in that area again with Tosin Adarabioyo on the ball, back to Sanchez in his 18-yard box, and there is just no way out at the moment because Manchester United's press is very good. And then again, Lindelof forcing Cucurella into an error, and I think Enzo Maresca is a little perturbed here because he's come darting down the touchline. He, like Hugh Wozencroft, has got one of those big stadium jackets on tonight, and he's trying to get Chelsea to cool down.
Yeah, Hugh's adamant it is getting cold. It's not as yet, but I mean, look, Ruben Amorim would be delighted with what he's seen so far, both with and without the ball, perhaps even more so without the ball. You know, the hustling, the harrying, the attitudes, that kind of like looking as if it doesn't really matter, so we won't try as hard. This is exactly what he would have wanted to have seen so far, despite neither keeper having a lot to do.
Anana up over the halfway line. Poor header by Colwill, straight into the path of Amad Diallo. Doesn't risk it by running down the right touchline. He waits, gives it to Mazraoui. He then switches the play from right to left, and Dorgu's got room again down that left-hand side. He moves into the box, tries to get a cross in. It hits the arm of Reece James, but it was the top of the arm, and he did pull his arms into his body. It deflects behind and away for a corner, but Chelsea haven't started well.
No, they haven't, and the fans obviously want to try and get behind them at the moment, but it's because United have started well. And so it's not necessarily they've been brilliant passing and opened Chelsea up, but the attitude is exactly what Ruben Amorim has been wanting from game to game. You're a Manchester United football player, and yes, they're a million miles away from where they were under Sir Alex Ferguson, but doesn't mean to say the culture and the attitude has to be any different.
And Manchester United created opportunities against West Ham, but didn't take them. And West Ham score with their first real attack. Here is the corner in towards the near post, away by Colwill, out to the left-hand side. That was last weekend. This is this weekend, and it's pivotal in the race for the top 5. Shaw swirls the ball into the Chelsea penalty area. It's away by Cucurella, picked up by Mazraoui, sent wide to Amad Diallo, and Manchester United have possession again. 0-0 the score. United's only wins in their last 13 Premier League games were against Ipswich and Leicester. Here's Dorgu, who's had a lot of the ball over on that left-hand side in the opening exchanges. Fernandes in towards Harry Maguire, arriving inside the box to side foot the ball home, and Manchester United lead by a goal to 0. 16 minutes on the clock. Harry Maguire, who's turned in to a makeshift striker over the course of the last few weeks, has popped up with another goal, and it could be a really important one in the context of the race for the Champions League. Chelsea now, Manchester United 1.
And United deserve it. They've been the better team so far in these first 15 minutes. Harry Maguire, centre-half, he can play out wide, he can whip great balls in, and he can also score himself as a centre-forward. There's a great ball whipped in, it really was, but the Chelsea defence just not going with the players. I mean, the starting line wasn't good enough when the cross came in.
They are just checking the goal for a possible offside when the ball was played in from the left-hand side. We don't have the monitors here tonight, but Harry Maguire running away in celebration. They are just teeing up the VAR. The VAR this evening is Craig Pawson, and it does look as if we're looking over the shoulder of somebody else's monitor, to be honest with you, and it does look as if he might be offside when the ball was played in, which will be a reprieve for Chelsea if that is the case. But there is an inquest going on in the Chelsea centre defensive position. Just wonder whether or not his right shoulder was offside. Yes, it's overturned. The goal has been disallowed, and Manchester United do not lead, Scott Minto.
Right, I mean, Hugh and producer Izzy have been able to get like a replay that we don't normally see. And I can now give credit to the Chelsea back line, because they were holding their line right across that 18-yard box, and it is just inches, just a shoulder of Harry Maguire. But when you're trying to play or stay in that line as well, that's good defending. Harry Maguire then has got to look and time his run a little bit better. So in the end, Chelsea have got away with it to a point, but it's good defending because they were disciplined. Not one defender dropped off.
It's a warning sign for Chelsea, though, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's not been good enough from Chelsea. It's been a really good start for Manchester United.
That is so tight. That really is tight.
We're going to get Adrian Durham on the phone now, aren't we?
But I suppose a good use of the semi-automated offside technology.
Absolutely.
So that's good news for the officials.
It was
good news for Chelsea, but not great news for Manchester United, who've started very well, and they probably do deserve to be in front in the game, bearing in mind their dominance in it. And Chelsea do know that they have to win their last two games, and if they do that, they will get to the Champions League. But bearing in mind that they were second in December, they will be bitterly disappointed if they don't make it. And Robert Sanchez has just had a pass back from Reece James, and he has spooned it to a point where it ended up spinning almost behind him. It's been given away in the far corner. Fernandes has kept it alive for Manchester United, and Sanchez had to come out and grab it once again. But Chelsea don't look particularly bright.
Right, so with that goal, it's a kick up the backside for Chelsea, but for Manchester United, they've got to be thinking, we just got to carry on playing like this. We're the better side, we're on top, we're good with the ball, we're even better without the ball. The attitude is spot on. And Robert Sanchez, he's not comfortable with playing out in the way that Enzo Maresca wants his goalkeepers to do that. There was a really poor pass, so the crowd got on top of him, and he'll be getting nervous.
Well, speak to any of the Manchester United players and they will tell you, and the manager will sort of tell you as well, that they've actually started to play quite well in the Premier League recently, but haven't got the results. Here's Madueke trying to go forward, blocked by Casemiro. Now Caicedo onto Fernandes. He tries to funnel the ball out wide towards the right-hand side. They close ranks collectively, Manchester United, and shepherd the ball back to Onana away to our left. 20 minutes gone, 0-0.
The pressing of United is brilliant tonight. I've not seen them like this for a very long time. I did a game, the game in Bilbao, and yet, while they were very, very good, the attitude here is spot on. This is exactly what Amorim is looking for. And if they can take this going forward, not just for Wednesday, but obviously for next season and beyond, then maybe they can get back once to where they were once.
Current Chelsea captain dispossesses a former Chelsea captain in Mason Mount as they both go for the same ball on the halfway line. The ball breaks into midfield. It's won by Casemiro, sent back to Shaw, and then it's forward by Maguire out towards the left-hand side. It's chested down by Dorgu, away by Enzo Fernandez, helped forward again by Luke Shaw, off Neto, who hasn't really got involved in the game. In fact, none of the Chelsea forward players really have got in the game so far, and we've played 20 minutes. And bearing in mind the onus is on them to create, I just wonder whether or not the sort of weight of the match has just weighed heavily on their shoulders, Scott, in the opening 20 minutes or so.
They shouldn't do, Sam. They should be able to deal with this, and they should act as an inspiration. As I say, on paper, of the two remaining games, it's the Nottingham Forest one that's the difficult one. They're not matching United's commitment and pressure. And that's something you wouldn't expect to have said at the start of the game.
Yeah, they've had the best chance, I suppose, really, Chelsea. I mean, none of them have had the goal disallowed Manchester United, but Chelsea had the opportunity with Madueke, which they put over the top of the bar, but it's been all Manchester United. They've had 63% of the possession so far. And here is Mount, edge of the area, sliding in from across from Dorgu. Can't connect with it. He was stretching all the time. It spirals off his boot and goes out for a throw-in down on the left-hand side as Chelsea look at it. But that should be a moment where Enzo Maresca says, right, OK, collectively, let's just get a hold of things here, because right now, Manchester United are the better team, and Chelsea need to up their game if they're to try and win this and get into a position where their last game of the season is win and in.
No, they have to win tonight. It's as simple as that. It means so much more to Chelsea than it does to United. And apart from a couple of Caicedo runs, we just saw one there just coming away from the press. It's the midfield where United are very much on top, and therefore Chelsea's wide players aren't getting involved because they're not receiving the ball, because the Chelsea midfielders are losing the battle at the moment.
Well, I think tactically, and you sort of alluded to it earlier about changing your notepad, they're almost playing with a situation where you've got a back five, Dorgu and Mazraoui as the wing backs, and then you've got Fernandes, Ahmad, Mount all almost in the middle in front of Casemiro, which adds extra numbers.
Yeah, it's almost like a diamond, you know, with Bruno Fernandes playing a little bit in front of Casemiro, and then Ahmad and Mason Mount either side of that. And I just think the pressing is just so good. Chelsea aren't able to get a touch and look up. The moment they get that first touch, by the time they've looked up, somebody's on them.
Here's Mount on the halfway line. Out to Dorgu, more space for him. Casemiro trying to reverse it into the left corner, looking for the run of Dorgu. Across comes James and manages to clear. Neto comes across, but Fernandes wins it back. Fernandes gets in front of him, the ball spirals to the left, but it's a Manchester United shirt that there's Fer. Here is Shaw, Mount, Dorgu. Chelsea on the back foot. Manchester United camped in their half and have been for most of the game so far. 23 gone, goalless on Talksport. Friday night football for you. Tomorrow we've got the FA Cup 4:30. We've also got a warm-up show beforehand with Ali Oladipo and Rory Jennings live from Box Park, where they have special guests and a live audience, and you'll be able to get involved in that as well. The pre-match party is also on Talksport's YouTube channel and Smart TV connected app. You can watch all the fun. Ahmad goes down, the ball spirals loose in midfield. It's picked up by Caicedo, who manoeuvres forward, looks up, then tries to funnel it into Cole Palmer. Man United want Chelsea to put the ball out. They continue. And here is Madueke on this left-hand side with Ahmad down away to our right. Here is Madueke's cross in towards the near post. It misses everyone. Comes back to James, who hits it outside of the post and wide of goal. What an effort from Reece James, and you could see as it kicked up in front of him, he fancied that. He was about 20 yards from goal, just right of the D. He connected beautifully with it on the volley. Onana was beaten, but it was just on the wrong side of the post from a Chelsea perspective.
Yeah, now we're looking at an angle where it's right behind Reece James, and it's coming off just the top of his boot, and it's curling in towards the goal. If it was a yard further out, it would have curled from outside to inside and given Onana no chance whatsoever. But it's the first time that one of Chelsea's wide players, this time Nono Madueke, has actually had a one-on-one situation. Mazraoui was wanting, because Ahmed was down, Chelsea to kick the ball out. Well, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, whichever side. And this is a head injury. You don't need to do that. Play to the whistle. He ran it, he went past him, he crossed the ball, it went back. It's a wonder strike from Reece James.
Well, I think a lot of the discussion in the build-up to the game when Enzo Maresca was asked about the tactics was about how Chelsea were going to break down a low block. But it's been anything but a low block from Manchester United tonight. They've had all of the football, all of it inside Chelsea's territory. And Dorgu's got it again. They've just been faster, snappier in the tackle. They've turned the ball over quickly whenever Chelsea have threatened to attack. They've played their football in the Chelsea half of the pitch, and they had a goal disallowed from Harry Maguire, which could have put them in front in the game. But it's 0-0, and all the while it's 0-0, Chelsea will take encouragement from the fact that, having not started the game particularly well, as they didn't up at Newcastle on Sunday, They aren't losing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only positive Chelsea can take out of the first 25 minutes so far. United have been excellent. Now, Ruben Amorim must be thinking, well, why can't we do this every single game? This is what I'm looking for. And this is before, the biggest game of their season as well.
I think he would maintain that there's been more of this recently. He wants more of it. He started to see these. And we mentioned it a few times on the Premier League All Access podcast. We've seen it a few times in patches in games, but stringing it together through 90 minutes is going to be the key now. Yeah, and you know what? Hugh asked the question about, or he mentioned that Ruben Amorim said certain players are playing for a starting place on Wednesday. And we mentioned Mason Mount. I'll tell you what, he has been excellent. It's why almost every manager, club and country, seems to really love Mason Mount when he's 100% fit. And you can kind of see why, both with and without the ball. Because he's selfless, he's hard-working, he creates and scores goals.
All that.
Here is Caicedo. Plays it left. Colwell coming forward. Over the halfway line for Chelsea in blue shirts. It's out to Madueke, who sends it back, and immediately Manchester United then use that as a trigger as soon as Chelsea play a backward pass to go on a full court press and push Chelsea even further back. And then Sanchez kicks it long into no one in particular, and it's back with Andre Onana away to our left-hand side. Thomas Tuchel is back at Stamford Bridge tonight. The England head coach watching on the Champions League with Chelsea. Chelsea have it with Caicedo. On to Cole Palmer. Palmer gets to the edge of the area. His left-footed shot takes a deflection. It goes behind, and it's out for a goal kick. Look, Chelsea, despite the fact that Manchester United have had a lot of the ball, have had two very good chances in Madueke and James.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's almost like United are playing like the home side. They've got the possession there. They're really hustling and harrying as well. But Chelsea are looking dangerous at times on the counter-attack.
Well, Chelsea are about to take a corner. Meanwhile, Robert Sanchez has decided to come over and have a chat with Enzo Maresca on this near touchline. He's now gone back into the Chelsea half. He's on the centre circle. Here is the corner from Neto, deep towards the penalty spot, headed down by Tosin. It comes back out to the left, and Neto retrieves it down the side of the box. He weaves one way then the other, then a left-footed cross is a good one to the far post, flicked away by Mazraoui, comes out to Enzo Fernandez. There was a hand there. The Chelsea players think it struck it. The referee stopped the game because of an issue before that. Manchester United are going to be given a free kick inside the box, but the Chelsea players were surrounding him asking for a review of a handball situation.
Well, I'm pretty sure VAR will be looking at this. We were not going to...
His hands were close to his body, I think.
Free kick.
I think came out towards the edge of the box. Fernandez struck it just inside it, and it hit the Manchester United defender Mazraoui, but his arms were coming back into his body rather than going out and being in an unnatural position. I don't think there's going to be any chance of a penalty there for Chelsea. Manchester United start the weekend in 16th position in the Premier League. They can no longer finish any higher than 13th this season. Their lowest ever finish in the Premier League is 8th. The only top division season that they finished 13th or lower since their relegation 51 years ago was a 13th place finish in Division 1 under Sir Alex Ferguson in 1989-90. To have a season as bad as that is almost unthinkable, and Ferguson won the cup that year. Here is Cole Palmer inside the centre circle, on towards Fernandez, and Fernandez tries to help it forward, but Shaw is there. It comes back into the centre circle. Chelsea have got it back again. Reece James has sent it wide, and now a chance for Pedro Neto to attack the Manchester United penalty area. He gets it onto his left foot on the corner of the box, in towards Cucurella, away by Mazraoui. It's out as far as Fernandez, and Mount laid it back to Fernandez beautifully, and away goes Ahmed on this near side, but Colwell is across just in the nick of time, and it's out for a throw on the halfway line. 30 minutes gone, Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. Live on Talksport tonight. We're live with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van.
Yeah, we mentioned about Tyreek George playing up front. And whatever you say about Nicholas Jackson, even if he's not having the best of games, he's able to hold the ball up and bring players in. So if your midfield's not winning the battle, you try and go option B and go a little bit longer. And at this moment in time, the youngsters finding it difficult to actually get the ball, receive the ball, and then play in the likes of Palmer or the two wide players.
Yeah, it's been a difficult First half an hour for Tyreek George, his first Premier League start, only 19 years of age. Some bright performances in Europe this season. He actually has been given his own locker in the Cobham main dressing room this campaign because he's been promoted to the first team squad as Fernandes goes wiring in on Caicedo and earns himself a yellow card.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done really well, the youngster. And not just playing off the wing, but also coming off the bench and playing as a centre-forward. But it's another thing to play in Europe as a centre-forward as it is to play and start a game at Stamford Bridge against Manchester United, where United are playing like this.
Manchester United haven't played like this a lot this season, but they are playing like it now. And Chelsea always feared that this might be the case, especially after West Ham and their game. And interestingly, a lot depends on what happens at Aston Villa tonight, because if Chelsea weren't to win here and Aston Villa were to win tonight, then Chelsea would drop out of the top 5. And there's been a goal at Villa Park. Here's Talksport's Abigail Davies.
There has indeed an hour on the clock, and it is not good news for Chelsea. From an out-swinging corner out on the left-hand side, the ball was picked up at the back post, flicked into the path of Ezri Konsa, who just slotted the ball past Kinski from close range. It has given Aston Villa a well-deserved lead in this one. Aston Villa 1, Spurs 0, an hour gone.
Really good corner from John McGinn, headed back across the face of goal from the right edge of the penalty area, and there Ezri Konsa pouncing like Ollie Watkins with a finish. And 60 minutes on the clock there. Aston Villa lead by a goal to 0, and that does change the table. What it means is that Aston Villa will go above Chelsea, so Arsenal will be second, Newcastle third, Manchester City fourth, Aston Villa fifth, and Chelsea drop down to sixth. So their situation now becomes more acute. Here is Madueke down the left-hand side into the box, a low ball into the near post, flicked away by Casemiro, and out and away for a corner kick to Chelsea. 0-0.
The second time he's actually got out and been able to run at Mazraoui. Really good play again, just going slow and then really quick, using his pace, going down the outside, whipping it across. Good defending from United, but that's what Chelsea need to do, get the wide players in. Certainly Madueke.
Here's the corner from the near touchline to be taken by Pedro Neto. 33 gone, and Chelsea yet to pierce this Manchester United defence. They've had two good chances. Madueke had a great chance, so did Reece James when he hit the outside of the post. This corner from Neto is aimed towards Colwell. Out jumped by Lindelof, comes back to Caicedo, went to hit it, blocked by Ahmad, further to the left, and it's now given to Palmer. Palmer now to Madueke, who's just inside the box down the left-hand side, surrounded by two Manchester United bodies. One of those is Maguire, who reads it beautifully, just stands in the way, wins it, then plays it against Neto and wins the goal kick. So we'll go off to the Vescott Stadium where it's half-time for Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's goalless between Walsall and Chesterfield. Walsall 2-0 up on aggregate. The Saddlers with the better chances. A couple for Jellis. Boot with a good early save. Simway had one deflected wide. He's also been booked for time wasting. Bim Peppel scuffed a good opportunity for Chesterfield just before the break. 0-0. Walsall 2 up on aggregate.
During the off-season.
It's currently Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. For the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Chelsea at 6-4 on to win the game. The draw is 13-5. Man United 19-5. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BeGambleAware.org. I noticed that Jeff Peters has sent us both messages.
He did.
To you, he said that he's going to take a restraining order out on me. And to me, he said, I hope the geezer that you were stalking on the platform was a good-looking chap. He was, Jeff. He was very handsome.
Yeah, he put here, was it Jason Statham or Voldemort?
Oh, it's definitely more Jason Statham. 10 minutes to go before half-time. Ball cleared by Casemiro upfield, headed away by Tosin Adarabioyo into Cucurella, up to halfway, but nabbed by Casemiro again. Good turn by Mount, who's fouled by Enzo Fernandez. It's a free kick to Manchester United, 10 yards in front of the centre circle. They take it quickly with Fernandez, quick thinking to get it out to Dorgu. Again, he's just got far too much room over on that far side. On that occasion, the bounce of the ball just outfoxed him a little bit, but Manchester United have again moved up into the Chelsea half of the field. 0-0. Out and wide to the right. Amad Diallo trying to take on Cucurella. Comes infield. Cucurella does well. Palmer takes it on. Then moves up to the halfway line. George is inside him. He's got Madueke to his left. He's held on to it and waited for other reinforcements in the shape of Caicedo. And Chelsea builds slowly out towards the right-hand side. Now it's with Neto. He looks to take on Patrick Dorgu does a little trick to try and get past him. He gets past him despite the rugby tackle and then sends a ball into the near post, which is too close to Onana. It's caught by the Cameroon goalkeeper and cleared away.
Well, it's the first time he's really been able to get on the ball and get past Dorgu. And do you know what, again, it's another United player getting across really quickly, which means that Neto had to take that cross first time with his right foot. His wrong foot has gone straight to Onana's hands as well. So even though he's gone past Dorgu, he always seems to be a United teammate, just backing another teammate up.
Ball up towards Højlund, collides with Toyson Adarabayu, who's now standing over Højlund and looking at him. The referee's going to free kick against the Dane. There was a collision, but I think it was Højlund who ran into Toyson Adarabayu, and his just left arm just sort of blocked him, protecting himself really. He's gone down, Højlund. It gives me an opportunity just to discuss Bruno Fernandes really, because so much of what is good comes from him. Only Mo Salah has been involved in more goals than Bruno Fernandes in the Premier League in all competitions, and out of the Premier League players in all competitions this season. 19 goals, 17 assists. However, less than half of those have come in the Premier League, so his European performances have been key to Manchester United and cup performances. But he really is the fulcrum of the team, and I think most people thought that he'd probably have a rest tonight, but I was pretty certain that he wouldn't, because he does just want to play every game. He's pretty durable, and he's always good for some sort of goal involvement.
Well, I think Hugh's still got his fingers crossed as well, and will do up until the end of the game. And I understand his point of view, I really do, because look, Bruno's stats, not just this season, but since he's come to Manchester United, and what has been a very poor Manchester United, it's just nothing short of sensational. And to play for the biggest club in the country, and the pressure with that brings, and we've seen a lot of players not been able to deal with that pressure, and what has been a really poor side, to be stand out and numbers that are close, or at least second to Mo Salah. I think it just goes to show what a good player he is. And as you say, he's very durable, very rarely gets injured.
This is Maguire. Lovely ball up towards Højlund, and then Caicedo with a really good strong tackle on Bruno Fernandes. It bounces into the path of Madueke, skates forward, plays it out wide to the left. Cole Palmer keeps it in play down by the corner flag as Chelsea come on the attack. Those blue shirts of Chelsea rippling under the floodlights here at Stamford Bridge. And as dust descends on this part of London, southwest London, remember tomorrow, slightly north of here and slightly more to the west, Wembley and its arch takes centre stage. Crystal Palace against Manchester City, live on Talksport from 4:30. John Solako and Stuart Pearce with Jim Proudfoot and Adrian Durham tomorrow. Looking forward to that. What a big game that is. And then Sunday, the Sunday session comes from Arsenal. But before that, Everton-Southampton, the final game at Goodison Park in the Premier League for the men's team. Perry's at West Ham on Sunday, by the way. Troy Deeney is going to be with us as well. He's at Brentford. And Crookie and I will be at Arsenal. And they play Newcastle, another team that are looking to try and get into the Champions League places. And Chelsea dropping points tonight. If they were to drop points tonight, then that would be good for Newcastle and good for Aston Villa, who lead by a goal to nil over on Talksport 2. Everyone wants to get into Europe because European nights are so great for the fans, but also the finals are so good as well, and all four of the European finals are live on Talksport and Talksport 2. Manchester United Tottenham next Wednesday night in the Europa League, the Women's Champions League next Saturday the 24th of May. On the 28th of May, Chelsea against Real Betis, and the Conference League final is live on Talksport, and Inter Milan versus PSG. The Champions League final Saturday the 31st of May, live on Talksport. Here is Amad Diallo, right side of the Manchester United attack. And largely, Scott, the happier manager of the two is going to be Ruben Amorim at half-time.
Oh, absolutely. Chelsea, as yet, haven't got a shot on target. I think they've just, again, I'll go back to the attitude and what Ruben Amorim, post-match especially, but he would have been saying it daily in the dressing room, but watching that post-match press conference after the West Ham defeat and the way he was saying it doesn't hurt enough, it's not the end of the world to lose a game, any game, when you're a Manchester United player. Well, we're seeing proper passion out there tonight, and the tactics, you have to say, have been spot on. When Chelsea can't panic, you think about Villa, they're 1-0 up at the moment, but went in at half-time 0-0. So it's not the end of the world to be 0-0, but they have to step it up, because the second half goes like it has in the first half, then I mean, it's looking like a draw, but possibly even a United win.
Ball back to Andre Onana inside his 18-yard box. I think Chelsea might hope that Manchester United get to sort of 60, 70 minutes, start to rest one or two ahead of the final on Wednesday night, and therefore give them a little bit more of a chance the longer the game goes on. They can't rest on their laurels on that, though. The ball goes out wide to Neto, edge of the penalty area, goes back into Reece James. Bit of space here for Caicedo. Caicedo flicks it forward. Madueke down the right side, too heavy for him. And it comes off his head and runs into the arms of a grateful Andre Onana away to our left-hand side. It's Talksport. It is Friday night, and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
I just wonder if it's best, or do something different, even if you're not going to actually make substitutions, but just move people around. We know that when Nicholas Jackson was injured, Pedro Neto played up front. Maybe just put Tyreek George out wide, Neto up front. Just try something different, because at the moment, Chelsea, they look toothless going forward.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like they're playing a formation now of 4-2-4 with Palmer and Tyreek George almost as two withdrawn strikers, false nines, and the two wide men, Neto and Madueke, attacking from the flanks. But they've got to, as you say, vary it up. And he did actually talk about this yesterday. He prefers playing with a false nine when he's up against a back four. He doesn't like playing with a false nine up against the back three, but needs must. That's the situation that Chelsea are in, because Jackson got sent off and suspended, therefore can't play. Chelsea do have a problem here over on the far side, and it looks like an issue with Reece James, which is always a bit of a concern. He's gone down in the right fullback position. And Chelsea captain just getting a little bit of treatment opposite us, just having his right leg stretched out. He really has had a difficult couple of seasons. Last season he managed just 479 minutes. This year 1,293. He's into the 1300s now with today's performance, but he won't want it to come to an end with the final looming and the prospect of Champions League football being up for grabs.
It looks like it's his ankle. At least it's not his hamstring, which obviously he's had a big problem with. But I mean, on his day, before all those injuries, honestly, in terms of all-round fullbacks, I thought he was not just the best English fullback, but the best in the world. Just unfortunately, just injury after injury, and then suddenly, do you trust your body? Enzo Maresca's getting stick for not always playing Reece James in his right back position, playing him in midfield. I wonder whether the medical team have sort of said, look, you can't risk it. At any time he could just go, and look at him limp off at the moment. Hopefully he'll be okay, but he certainly doesn't look 100%.
No, there was we both had the binoculars out there, and looking over to the far side, the concern is pretty apparent. It looks like he's going to try and come back on, but I suppose they'll try and get to half-time and then make an assessment on him. We are only a minute away from that now on Talksport, and it's still goalless here.
Well, there's always Romeo Lavia, isn't there, to come on and put Caicedo back to right back, which a lot of fans don't like, but there's an option there.
Malagusto is actually a right back. He could play there as well.
Yep.
Here is Cole Palmer moving into midfield, trying to get away from Mazraoui. Searches out Pedro Neto. Back into Caicedo. Caicedo's Chelsea temporarily down to 10 men. Reece James has come back on now, and it's picked up by Palmer. And there's a bit of space here for Caicedo, because Mount got a little bit distracted by the presence of James and just moved down a position. Chelsea jumped forward, but don't make any headway because Manchester United quickly snap back into shape. That's been their process all evening. Caicedo onto Palmer, heavy touch, lovely little touch by Amad Diallo, and then by Højlund to get Manchester United out. And then Mount tries to funnel it forward, and there'll be 5 minutes of added time as Chelsea win it back. Here's Cucurella moving into the inside left position, out wide to Madueke. Comes in on his right foot, gives it to Palmer, whose strike takes a deflection, patted down, comes back to Enzo Fernandez, who will be delighted to see the offside flag go up because he's managed to turn it over from 6 yards out. Another goal at Villa Park. Which way has it gone? Talksport's Abigail Davies.
72 minutes on the clock. It has gone the way of the home side, Aston Villa, who are chasing Champions League football. It is Boubacar Kamara who has put the ball in the the back of the net. He receives the ball just outside of the area, takes a touch to get him into a shooting position, to create some space for himself, and then he rifles the ball into the bottom left-hand corner. Nothing Kinski could do about it. He was fully stretched, unable to get to it. A lovely finish from the midfielder to double the home side's advantage here at Villa Park.
Well, we've already mentioned it. The way it stands at the moment, Aston Villa jumping into the top 5 and Chelsea are out of the top 5, dropping down to 6th position. Nottingham Forest will be able to leapfrog them if things stay this way, if they manage to beat West Ham on Sunday. We'll keep you up to date with that in the Sunday session, because Chelsea will have 64 points as it stands. Even Manchester City are dropping down a position as it stands at this moment. Their game on Tuesday night is also live on Talksport. They're playing Bournemouth on Tuesday night, and we'll be there for that one too. Here is Reece James, still not moving 100% freely. Plays it infield to Caicedo. We're into the second of 5 added minutes at the end of the first half, and it's 0-0. Out wide it goes from Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea's Pedro Neto. Back to halfway and Reece James. James into Caicedo. Caicedo surrounded by 3 red jerseys. Wriggles out and plays it back to Colwill. Colwill to Madueke now on the left-hand side. Goes into Colwill. Poor pass forward, which Fernandez cuts out. Can't divert to a red shirt, so Madueke is the lucky recipient, and they start to build again. Chelsea deep inside, well, just a couple of yards actually inside their own half, and then Reece James spots Enzo Fernandez coming in from the right side, plays it to Palmer. Palmer now travels with the ball out towards the Chelsea right, chased out by Casemiro. Dorgu now takes over marking duties for Palmer. He gets across to make a tackle on Pedro Neto, and it was a really good one from Patrick Dorgu. He wins it back for Manchester United, who have played a really good first half here at Stamford Bridge. And they're coming forward again now. Dorgu tried to play a little back heel into Mason Mount, but it wasn't right from Dorgu, and they've given the ball away now, and Chelsea looking to take advantage of them being misshapen. Out it goes to the right side. Palmer to Neto. Neto edge of the penalty area. Shaw comes across. It goes back to Palmer, right side of the box. A left-footed cross towards Cucurella. Took a deflection, goes out. It's going to be a corner to Chelsea in injury time at the end of the first 45.
Well, it happens so many times with Chelsea. We saw it a little bit earlier as well. Cole Palmer just in that inside right position, coming back on his left foot. Marc Cucurella bombing on down the outside, and it was looked like it was a little bit of overhit, but yeah, it was the deflection. Look, if Chelsea get a goal here, it'd be brilliant for the home side, but it'd certainly be against the run of play. United have to make sure they don't concede here.
2-0 to Aston Villa on Talksport 2 tonight. If you want to listen to that game, then you can download our new reconfigured app, redesigned app. You can watch stuff. You can go back and look at the best videos that we produced this week. The podcast tab has got the best of our podcasts on there as well. And of course, you can listen to all our radio stations live. Plus, you can listen to the playoff game between Walsall and Chesterfield on the Talksport app tonight too. There's a little bit of a delay here to this corner, whilst Chris Kavanagh goes and sorts out a little bit of pushing and shoving. Levi Colwill no longer has a shirt on, which tells you that things got a little bit out of hand.
I think he's offering his shirt to Hugh.
Here he doesn't need any more clothes. Here is Cole Palmer from the short corner, taken by Neto, runs into Ahmad. Ahmad just drops on the ball, then comes away with it, holds it for Bruno Fernandes, and Manchester United managed to half clear, but then Neto dispossesses Mount, and then Casemiro with a tackle puts it behind. It's away for another corner. Well, we're into the final 30 seconds of what is supposed to be added. 0-0 the score. End of the first half on Talksport. Manchester United have competed well. Chelsea have just been a little bit off the pace, but they've got better as the half has gone on, if not quite snapped into gear. They've lacked a bit of a goal threat, but here is Neto in towards the near post. Casemiro gets in front of Onana. It's cleared away by Ahmad, and it's up towards the halfway line where Caicedo will keep hold of it for Chelsea. One last chance maybe to get the ball into the box from deep. Enzo Fernandez forward to Reece James. Reece James hits it straight against Casemiro. Dorgu scurries out towards the left fullback position, gets it back. That's the end of the first half. A first half that I think Manchester United will be a lot more comfortable with than Chelsea. A first half in which they had a goal disallowed. Harry Maguire thought that he'd scored the opener, only for VAR to intervene. Chelsea hit the post with Reece James and missed the glaring opportunity with Noni Madueke. So that means there's nothing separating Champions League chasing Chelsea and Manchester United. This is the most drawn fixture in Premier League history. So no surprise that at the break it is Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0.
Well, there are a few mooted boos at half-time inside Stamford Bridge, but generally it's gone very, very quiet here. And I can understand why. All of these fans will understand what the situation is. Aston Villa, 2 goals to the good against Spurs, and at the moment they are leapfrogging Chelsea. It was a night we felt was going to be comfortable for the home side, given their opponents' thoughts were likely to be on Bilbao in midweek. It's been anything but that. Manchester United largely in control, and as Ruben Amorim told us pre-match, they have approached this trip to Stamford Bridge as if it is the Europa League final. That's the tone that we're seeing from his side tonight, and they can take all the credit from it, Scott. I've got to say, mark the time, 9:06. What's the date? 16th of May. I've got nothing negative to say about Man United.
Blimey. Let's make sure, Izzy, have you got that written down, yeah?
I'll get it tattooed on my arm, I think.
But do you know what? That's what... I'm still with you. I'm still... You know, I don't really care whether United or Spurs win the Europa League final, but I don't want to see Bruno getting injured tonight, which means he's not going to play on Wednesday. So, I completely understand where you're coming from, but... I said it 3 or 4 times. This is what Ruben Amorim is looking for. This is what he was talking about post-match after the West Ham game. He wants the players to realise what it's like to wear the United shirt, what it represents, what it means. The fans, wherever they are, from all over the world, coming and watching their team play. No, okay, they're perhaps not going to be, and it's going to take a good few years to get back to where they once were. But that doesn't mean to say for effort and passion and commitment and not choosing and picking which games you're going to really try and really not. You have to do it every single time. In fact, not just every single game, but every single day in training.
But it actually hints to the idea that he has the same problem as Manchester United managers past, in that this group continuously, season after season, have shown us they can get themselves up for the big games, they can perform in the big games, and it's almost like he's dangled the carrot tonight of starting in the Europa League final, and suddenly the best version of Manchester United have appeared.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got a couple of his quotes here. You know, I don't want to talk about players. I'm talking about myself and the culture of the club, the culture of the team, and then he switched it to the feeling. We need to be strong in the summer and really brave. You know, the biggest concern is okay to lose because it doesn't change our league position much. That's not what he's representing. Those ethics are Sir Alex Ferguson's ethics. Now, it's a long way before you can really compare the two, but still that hard work, that you know, realising what it means to wear the shirt, putting it 100% every single time, living your life right. I'm not suggesting that the United players don't, but we've not seen it enough. I mean, Sam alluded to it earlier that actually, in terms of the league, the performances have been better, but it's still a million miles away from where it needs to be.
He'll be very happy indeed. Enzo Maresca, not so much. By the way, Malagusto warming up on half-time, so we will expect Reece James to be absent in the second half. Aside from that, though, for a game of this magnitude, so important, he can now go in the changing room and tell them, by the way, Aston Villa look like they're going to be picking up all 3 points. We need to go for it in the second half. How disappointed will he be if the application of his players?
Yeah, I think he'd be really disappointed with just how they've played, because I wouldn't necessarily say it's the application, but United definitely do look the hungrier side, which is sort of thinking it should be the other way round.
For me, that's the application.
Well,
I expected to see a Chelsea side tonight so hungry, so determined to get 3 points, and it's actually Manchester United that look like they're going for the Champions League.
No, absolutely. It does look like they're the one that's going for that. And you know, I want to sort of say, look, I don't think it's that Chelsea aren't trying, but it does look like it's United has got that, you know, half a yard, half a second quicker in their step. I feel that the Tyreek George playing him up front hasn't really worked. Play him out wide, just switch it up a little bit. We'll have to wait and see whether Malagusto does come on or not. But if Chelsea play like that in the second half as they did in the first, they're not going to win this game, and they're not going to finish in the top 5. They have to win this game tonight. But the positive you can say is, you talk about the Villa being 2-0 up now against Spurs. It was 0-0 there at half-time, and they've been better in the second half. So I do expect Chelsea to step it up.
OK, and remember, the atmosphere might get a little bit sour here if that continues throughout the second half. So they need to respond. Let's get the half-time odds on Talksport, thanks to our friends at Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Well, it is goalless between Chelsea and Manchester United. Difficult one to call. Of course, Harry Maguire had a goal disallowed in the first half. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes right now. You can get Chelsea at 4-6 to win the game. The draw 13-5 and Manchester United 19-5. In terms of the next goal scorer market, Cole Palmer's 9-2. Bruno Fernandes looking pretty nice at 11-1. And a special for Harry Maguire to score a header. That was 16-1. It's been enhanced to 22-1. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. It's 18 plus, and make sure you check out begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Slightly pensive faces inside Stamford Bridge, but the home fans very happy inside Villa Park. The latest there from Abigail Davis.
Yeah, 6 minutes of this one remaining. It's still Aston Villa who lead by 2-0, but it could, maybe should have been more from a corner taken short. John McGinn receives the ball back in a more favourable position to let his shot away, but it was a whisker away from finding the back of the net. It remains 2-0 here. Aston Villa in cruise control at the moment. 85 minutes on the clock.
Let's get the latest in the second half. It's underway between Walsall and Chesterfield. What has it been like, Jeff Peters?
It's still 0-0 on the night. Sadler's 2 up on aggregate. Walsall happy with how it's going with that lead from the first leg. Jamie Jellis created a couple of openings for the home side. Metcalf and Dobra from distance for Chesterfield. Big chance just before the break when Bim Peppel miskicked when well placed. A Simway book for Walsall for delaying a throw. They're happy to waste as much time as possible. Paul Cook's side need a goal to get the nerves jangling around the stadium, and they'll then need another to keep them in the playoffs. It's goalless with 53 minutes played. Advantage Walsall 2-0 on aggregate.
Elsewhere in tonight's football, it's Livingston 2, Partick Thistle 0, 4-0 on aggregate in the Premiership relegation playoffs. They'll be heading through to the final. Elsewhere this evening in the League One relegation playoffs, Annan 1, East Fife 1, East Fife 3-2 up on aggregate. In Rugby Union, Newcastle Falcons 5, Gloucester 26 and Sale Sharks 27, Bristol 17. Just under 65 minutes gone in both of those games. And at the break in Super League, Leeds 4, Hull FC 10 and Wigan Warriors 28, Lee 12. Okay, the build-up to the Cup will really kick into gear from midday tomorrow. Adi Oladipo and Rory Jennings hosting a preview show live from Box Park on Wembley Way. Their guests will include the former City winger Sean Wright-Phillips, Crystal Palace goalkeeping favourite Julian Speroni as well. The show live on Talksport from midday. It's also streaming live on the Talksport YouTube channel and your smart TV. Of course, we'll have the game live for you, 4:30 kickoff at Wembley on Sunday. One live game in the Premier League, Everton against Southampton. Of course, the final game, home game for the men at Goodison Park. Adrian Durham, Nigel Adley and the former Republic of Ireland captain Andy Townsend with you for that one. Sunday session with Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Perry Groves. We'll have all the goals as they go in, including the Women's FA Cup final and the Premier League as well. West Ham against Nottingham Forest, Arsenal against Newcastle, Brentford taking on Fulham. Let's get an update from the US PGA Championship Golf with Talksport's Sean O'Brien.
Yes, Venezuela's Jonathan Vegas leads the PGA Championship. He's in the clubhouse on 8 under par. American Alex Smalley has moved to within 1. He's currently working his way through the back 9. A bit further back, Englishman Matt Fitzpatrick and Harry Hall have put themselves in the mix. They're 4 shots back. And that is also where you'll find world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. He's 4 under. He's right there. And with lots of smaller names in front of him, he has to be considered the favourite at this point. Richard Bland and Bob McIntyre are 1 shot further back at 3 under, and a resurgent Rory McIlroy is back in business. He's worked his way inside the cut line, 3 under for the day, even par for the championship. He can still put himself very much in contention ahead of the weekend, but lots of big names are already heading home. Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas and Ludwig Åberg, just some of the big names, all but guaranteed to miss the cut. But at the top, it's Vegas by 1 on 8 under par.
PGA Championship update on Talksport with Arnold Clark. Everything for your car, all in one place.
Well, as it stands, it looks like Chelsea are going to miss the cut when it comes to the Champions League spots. They need to seriously up their game after the break. At half-time, live and exclusive Premier League action here on Talksport. It is Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0.
Game night on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. So don't get stuck behind a sea of brake lights that grinds your day to a halt. Why waste your time when we can zip to you and you can stay on your job? Screwfix Sprint cuts through the congestion to get you what you need fast. More time working, less traffic frustration. Screwfix Sprint, delivering in as little as 20 minutes. Just $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
And what a season this has been for Village Hotels. They've got the quadruple. Stylish rooms, state-of-the-art gym, heated indoor pool, and the legendary Village Pub and Grill with its unbeatable lineup of food and drink. No wonder the fans are going wild for this champion of affordable breaks. Absolute class. Village Hotels, 33 winning locations across the UK, with everything under one roof. Book now at villagehotels.com.
Messing with the Mac. Verb. Informal. When a person takes a delicious, mouth-watering Big Mac and changes the structure of it to suit their eating preference. It's important to note that people who consider the Big Mac to be perfect as is do find this behaviour particularly challenging. Messing with the Mac at McDonald's. Serves from 11 a.m, subject to availability.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
This Saturday, Talksport gears up to bring you another blistering Premier League experience. And Betfair is here with all the latest odds and form.
Blast it into the back of the net.
Get all the fever pitch build-up and exclusive live commentary.
Cross, header in!
This Saturday on Game Day on Talksport with Betfair.
And he scored!
Don't forget, Betfair are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Applies to match odds, 90 Market Sportsbook exclusive. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Summer fashion announcement. Stripes are in, darling. Oh, and also florals. Groundbreaking, we know. Pastels and block colors, too. Basically, you choose. From breathable floral duvet sets to modular wardrobes and stripy block-out blinds, IKEA has hundreds of new summer products to let summer in. Fabulous! Visit IKEA online or in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Game Day Countdown live on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Like Chelsea versus Manchester United live tonight. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Well, if there's a debate over whether Enzo Maresca is the right man for Chelsea, it may well be nights like this that he's judged on. With their Champions League fate in their own hands, Chelsea were expected to take a stranglehold of Manchester United, dictate the pace of the game, put out a powerful performance, but it's been meek, it's been ponderous at times, lacklustre for sure, and we will need to see Chelsea go through the gears in the second half if they're to hold on to a top 5 spot. At the break, live on Talksport, it is Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0, and over on Talksport 2, Aston Villa in the closing stages 2-0 up on Spurs, and they will leapfrog Chelsea if the two scores stay the same. The two sets of players back out for the second half. Scott Minto, former Chelsea defender, who's alongside me. What do you want to see from both sides in this second half?
Well, from United's point of view, just exactly the same. I think they've been very, very good. We talk about how, in terms of both with and without the ball, they haven't really tested Robert Sanchez as much as they would have liked, but they've certainly played like they're the home side, whereas Chelsea have been a million miles off it. I want to see them, first of all, on an individual basis, just step it up, just, give it an extra 5, 10, 15%. And then you're looking at, okay, you're going to make any changes. I felt that Tyreek George playing down the middle, not his fault at all, wasn't really working because the Chelsea midfield were losing the battle, and then when they were wanting to go long, they weren't keeping the ball.
Chelsea
move it around a little bit.
Sorry, Scott. Chelsea have just had a big huddle. Reece James is still out there. Few words for his teammates ahead of the start of the second half with Chelsea FA Cup winner Scott Minto and Talksport's Sam Matterface.
And we're underway with Chelsea shooting from left to right in the second half towards the Matthew Harding stand, in blue shirts, blue shorts and white socks, and it's the red shirts, white shorts and black socks of Manchester United attacking the shed end away to our left, with their supporters firmly ensconced in half of it. Chelsea with another batch of supporters in the other half of it, and a scoreline which really Chelsea will be happy with after what was a really disappointing first 45 minutes, in which they struggled to test Andre Onana and found themselves losing the midfield battle, and in fact on another day could have found themselves 1-0 down. Problem here for Pedro Neto, who's gone down on the halfway line, and it's going to be a brief delay to proceedings as Luke Shaw kicks the ball out and Reece James will get things restarted. The good news for Chelsea supporters, Scott, is that they are a good second half team. They've scored 33 goals in the second half of Premier League games this season, and only Liverpool and Arsenal and Bournemouth have scored more.
Well, they certainly need to step it up in this second half. Maybe you could say that, as you touched on, Ruben Amorim will be thinking, okay, I still got to think about Wednesday. That's the priority. So do I play certain players for the full 90? That might disrupt them a little bit, but Chelsea need to step it up. The problem is, you look at their bench, they've got 2 keepers, 5 defenders and 2 midfielders. There's no real attacking midfielder there or striker.
And that's the problem with the squad. It's slightly lopsided. No Mark Guiu, who is a teenager who played in the Conference League earlier in the season, but he's injured. He has to start training with the full team. And no Nicholas Jackson, because he is suspended, and Nkunku not available once more. He's probably played his last game for Chelsea. Here is Cole Palmer, lovely roll of the body to get away from Casemiro, who's trying to pull him down. He gets to the edge of the box, feeds it to Tyreek George, and in the end they stop the game because the free kick is going to be given in Chelsea's favour because of the shirt pulling by Casemiro, who earns himself a yellow card from Chris Kavanagh, and the free kick will be quite some distance from goal, but just left of centre.
Yeah, it's really good play from Cole Palmer. That's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to get a little bit more involved as well. I thought Noni Madueke was excellent, probably Chelsea's best player in the first half. Pedro Neto needs to get involved, Palmer too. And it was a driving run that, 30 yards out? I think it could have been actually a little bit closer, to be honest with you, but the referees decided where it first happened.
Yeah, I thought that as well. As soon as he pulled up, I thought, well, where's he going to place this? Because that shirt pull started a very long way in, but the major impact happened just short of the penalty area.
Yeah, and I think this is just it's not too far out that he can't score, but I think it was another 5 yards closer, which I do think it was going on for a couple of seconds, and that probably would have been the 5 yards. Then I would have fancied Cole Palmer.
Well, as it stands, Aston Villa up into 4th, Manchester City down into 5th, and Chelsea out of the top 5 as it stands. They're 6, unless they can find a goal here in the second half. 48 minutes gone. James to line up the free kick. There's a 4-man wall. He shoots it straight into that wall, and it smacks someone in the face. I think it's Bruno Fernandes who's gone down immediately. He is clutching his face, and the ball goes loose on the near side. It's left by everybody. The game is stopped. So we'll go off to the Villa Park and find out what has happened at full time. Talksport's Abigail Davis.
Yeah, Aston Villa have strengthened their chances of securing a Champions League spot for next season with a 2-0 win over Spurs. A game played at a thrilling pace. Villa spent the first hour doing so much right. That final bit of quality in front of goal, the only element that was missing until Esri Konsa, from an excellent set-piece routine, was able to stop the ball into the back of the net from close range. Kamara added a second to extend Villa's run to 21 unbeaten here at Villa Park. Villa 2, Spurs 0.
Well, how big is that game between Chelsea and Nottingham Forest going to be, no matter what happens here tonight? Absolutely huge on the final day of the season. Chelsea have a restart. Chris Kavanagh just explaining to Harry Maguire and to Luke Shaw that something has to be sorted out there. They've thrown something away. They've got, like, I don't know if it's a note or it's a piece of equipment, but Bruno Fernandes has gone behind the goal to put something behind the goal, and then he's gone back towards Chris Kavanagh. Chris Kavanagh is not happy. He's asking someone to leave the field of play. I think it's Harry Maguire who wants to leave the field of play here. I don't think anyone really understands what's happened. Certainly the crowd don't understand. Pedro Neto is chasing Maguire off the field of play. He is off, and so is Højlund. Højlund wants to get back on. So at the moment they're down to 8 outfield players here, Manchester United.
I wouldn't suggest Pedro Neto to get into an argument with Harry Maguire. He could eat him.
Maguire is now allowed back on. Ball picked up by Reece James. Goes back to halfway. Højlund's back on now. They've got the full complement, and Chelsea have the ball on the halfway line. They're attacking the goal away to our right-hand side. Tosin harassed by Højlund. Ball out wide to the right. Neto's got it here. He looks up, tries to funnel it back to James. James clips it down the touchline. George goes on a run, but there is Maguire to win it. Play it against Tariq George and win the throw-in on this near touchline. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. In a pivotal game in the race for the top 5. Chelsea need to win to keep pace with Villa, Manchester City and Newcastle United. Nottingham Forest as well, who play at the weekend against West Ham. Newcastle's game against Arsenal will be there for the Sunday session this week. And on Tuesday night, live commentary of Manchester City against Bournemouth. By which time, by the way, if Chelsea win tonight, Manchester City will be the team that drop out of the top 5 going into that game on Tuesday, which puts even more pressure on them. Ball worked out by Mount towards the right-hand side, collected by Ahmed into the penalty area. Back to Mount with the shot wide. Well, the Chelsea fans absolutely delighted and relieved that Mason Mount didn't get his contact right there, because that was an excellent run down the right-hand side. Amad Diallo getting the ball in the box, swivelling one way than the other and teeing it up for the former Chelsea man, who opened his body up a little bit too much, connecting with his left foot and steered it wide.
Well, he had a similar chance like that in the first half where he didn't quite get good connection, but it only takes one time to be lucky there. Really good play for Mahmoud and poor defending from Chelsea. So I want to see them better in the second half than they were in the first. I'm not seeing it at the moment. And sorry, Sam, and again, just do something. You know, I was defending Enzo Maresca because I just don't want to see Chelsea being that sort of club that, you know, keeps on getting rid of players where their philosophy is buying potential, not what it used to be in buying ready-made world-class players. But Maresca's got to do something here. He hasn't got great options on the bench, but at least do something with what he's got. Turn things around in the front 3.
Well, they're just not assertive enough tonight. And look, they are the youngest average team in the league, I know that, and I wonder whether or not the occasion has got to them this evening. But, you know, I was talking to, and so were you, Jason Cundy at half-time, and he was saying he can't put it down to that. It's down to energy and intensity tonight. There hasn't been enough of that from Chelsea, and there's been more of it from Manchester United.
Yeah, honestly, Sam, I mean, you're right to ask the question. I don't think it is because it's a big game. I think they've had plenty of big games. It just, for some reason, you know, Hugh absolutely nailed it, and United look like the side going for a Champions League spot, not Chelsea. And we're not seeing a difference in the second half, so something needs to change. And if it's not the players doing it, the manager has to try and do something.
Well, the manager hasn't changed anything, and one of the criticisms that's been levelled at him this season is that he doesn't change things quick enough. He might not have to change it if Chelsea score. They've won it back on halfway thanks to Tariq George, and across comes Pedro Neto. Neto getting to the edge of the box, tucks it back towards the near side into Caicedo, then back to James once again. Collected now by Neto. Neto trying to cut infield. He's held up by Dorgu in that left full-back position. He's played well tonight. And then across it goes to Tosin Adarabioyo once more. It's Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0 on Talksport, Sky Sports. And don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Chelsea versus Manchester United, live right now. Search Now Sports.
I'll tell you what else we haven't seen really, and it's difficult to ask him to keep on doing it, especially from a left-back position, even though he can bomb on down the left, but also come into that inverted midfielder. But when things haven't quite been going too well, Marco Correa always normally makes something happen, and even he hasn't been able to do that tonight. Even he doesn't look as if he's quite on it with the intensity that he normally has. Even the annoyance that he sometimes has against opposition players, where you're thinking, well, I'm glad as a fan, I'm glad he's on my side and not on their side, isn't he? Annoying, he's not on my side, he's on their side.
He's not even irritated anyone.
No, he hasn't. It's just been a meh game, hasn't it, so far? And there's so much on it.
As if you're Chelsea, but if you're Manchester United, you'll be absolutely delighted with the way the game has gone. It's a short free kick from Chelsea, 20 yards short of the penalty area, left side, into Caicedo, back to James, who's given it away sloppily. And Manchester United are looking to break, and Højlund's running through the centre. Mount's carrying the ball upfield. He's got Ahmad through the right-hand side. Ahmad into the penalty area now, gets into the box, tees it up for Bruno Fernandes over the bar. Well, I think Bruno Fernandes was disappointed with the ball back to him by Amad Diallo. It wasn't crisp enough for him to hit, and therefore couldn't get the execution right. But Chelsea giving the ball away. Reece James the guilty party this time, and Manchester United, who were probably the better team in the first 45 minutes by some distance really, have started the second half better and had two great chances to take the lead.
It's the perfect example of where Chelsea are right now, and to be fair to United, they have pounced on it. Look, I'm not saying it's a vintage United performance, it's not, but this is a game where it's poor really. They're better than this, but United seem to want it more.
Here is Amad Diallo again after Chelsea's kick out is easily won back by Manchester United, and that's another problem that they've had recently. Robert Sanchez's delivery is not accurate enough for Chelsea, and that does cause them problems. That means that there are a greater number of turnovers, which increases the pressure on the defence.
He's not comfortable. I mean, it's difficult for goalkeepers being asked to almost play like central midfielders or even number 10s when they're the last man as well. And just Robert Sanchez, he's not comfortable with playing that type of way, and either long passing, short passing.
Fernandes trying to get in behind Caicedo, who mops up well for Chelsea as the ball's played forward. It's cut out by Caicedo. Lindelof wins it back. It's going to drop for Højlund here. He chests it down, takes it wide. Amad Diallo, Fernandes, Amad Diallo again. Diallo running at Cucurella, gets into the area, feeds it to Højlund. Højlund, well, he should have turned and hit that earlier, but he waited because he wasn't confident, and by the time he'd shifted the ball on, somebody in a blue shirt had snaffled it.
Absolutely, and a sign of a top-class striker, or even one just in form with confidence, he would have moved his body before he actually had to retake that first touch. He didn't, so by the time he took the first touch, then he's moving it around. That gives the Chelsea defenders time to try and close him down, and that was another really good opportunity. Ahmed now down that right-hand side is looking really dangerous.
Chelsea needs to react to that, try and plug that gap. Here's Palmer coming forward. He tries to turn, loses the ball. Fernandes picks it up. Fernandes travels forward, tackled by Enzo Fernandes. Fernandes is getting furious with Rasmus Højlund. He's given him all sorts of rollickings for not making the right runs, because as soon as he got the ball there, Bruno Fernandes, he wanted to release that. Rasmus Højlund is really fast, by the way. He can run the 100 metres in 11 seconds, but doesn't really show that often enough. Here is Dorgu left side, waiting to draw the foul. Tyreek George obliges. Free kick given 10 yards short of the halfway line in front of the Chelsea dugout, where an irritated Enzo Maresca is just starting to feel a little bit of pressure as we reach the hour mark. And Ruben Amorim, who constantly moves, never stays still, but still amazingly never seems to get his white trainers dirty. He's moving inside the technical area with his hands firmly rammed into his pockets. Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0.
I wonder if he's like, sort of David Beckham or John Terry, where new boots every game, new trainers every game.
Waste. They auction them off for charity.
I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely changes his trainers almost every time because they're just brilliant white. One back by Manchester United again. No pressure on the ball from Chelsea. That was a problem in the first half. Not enough pressure on the ball, allowing Manchester United to have it, to play with it. You know, Manchester United have been not very good at that this season, but they look better tonight with it. Tosin just about gets there ahead of Højlund after a flick on from Mount. Mount comes back and tries to cause Cole Palmer problems. Cole Palmer moves it to the far side. Chelsea on the attack with Madueke. Moves up to the edge of the area. Goes on the outside. Mazraoui stands him up, but Madueke gets away from him. Delivers a cross into the box. Pedro Neto trying to win a header at the far post. Not likely to be profitable situation, and he's crashed into the defender, Patrick Dorgu, and given away a free kick.
But that's brilliant wing play yet again from Nodin Madueke, playing on that left-hand side, remember, not on the right, not coming inside as an inverted winger, but he's quite happy to go down the outside. And when he gets the chance to go one-on-one with Mazraoui, who's a good defender, he's getting past him almost every time. He got to the byline, dinked it to the far post, and in the end it was good defending from United, but got to get the ball out to Madueke more.
Well, Chelsea's record against Manchester United was terrible, really. United's record at Stamford Bridge is pretty poor, only one win in their last 11 Premier League visits. Anthony Martial and Harry Maguire scoring for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 2020, the last time that they won here.
So, do we know it was going to be a draw before?
It's the most drawn game in Premier League history.
Although this time, well, not about this time last year, but this fixture last year, we had late goals.
We did, and drama, and there were 7 of them. We haven't had any tonight. An hour.
The best moments are still ahead. we hope.
Ball sent long by Onana, up over the top, and Højlund tries to run in behind. Sanchez manages to clear. It goes up into the night sky. I don't think it's been a bad game. It's been quite an entertaining game, actually. I think in the final actions they've let themselves down. They haven't pulled the trigger at the right moment. Mount's missed a good chance for Manchester United. Maguire had a goal disallowed. Madueke's missed a good chance, and Reece James has hit the outside of the post. And apart from that, there hasn't been that many chances. As Tyreek George goes in behind, goes round the goalkeeper, Onana makes contact with him, brings him down. It's a penalty to Chelsea. Tyreek George using his pace to get in behind the defence. The goalkeeper came out. Did he make contact with Tyreek George? Chris Kavanagh says he did. What will the VAR say? Onana is pleading his innocence.
Sam, it's ridiculous goalkeeping. I haven't seen it yet.
I don't think it's a penalty. I think he gets there just in the nick of time. I don't think he contacts Tyreek George, and if he does, it's very minimal. I'd be surprised if that isn't checked. In fact, we've just got notification that the VAR is checking the penalty foul. It looked soft on the replay.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's something out of absolutely nothing, and there's no way that Onana should be giving away a penalty. And we wouldn't be surprised if this is overturned. And look, whatever you say about VAR, this is the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's going to be overturned. Chris Kavanagh going over to the monitor to have a look. Look, OK, we have seen an incident recently where the referee has kept his head and not decided to overturn the initial decision. But the first time I saw a replay, I thought that no penalty would be the call, and I think I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Be very surprised if it's not overturned.
I don't think it's a dive from Tyreek George. I think he just sort of stumbles.
Yeah, I also think with him running at pace, he's waiting for the slightest of touches.
Yeah, and there wasn't the slightest of touches. He actually gets a hand on the ball, I think, Onana.
Yeah, and George's left leg for some reason goes out in an unnatural way. I mean, look,
Chris Kavanagh walking away from the monitor now, has blown the whistle, and he's overturned his decision. No penalty.
I mean, what I would say is that still it's ridiculous goalkeeper for coming out. There was absolutely nothing going on. There's no way that Tyreek George would have been through on goal. He's almost, well, he was running away from it. So for him to almost create that situation, at least he got out at the very last second and just got his hand away. But maybe, should we just say, how do I phrase this? A cleverer player, a more experienced player,
older head,
might have done it in a little bit of a different way, and it might have looked worse.
I think he actually makes a good stop there, Onana. I think he gets his hand on the ball. I think he actually gets his hand on the ball. I mean, look, I think you're right. He doesn't need to go out that far because he's almost in the right forward position when he comes out to engage with Tyreek George. And like you say, George is not going to score from there.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that replay again. I mean, we haven't got the replays here as such, so it just looked as if Tyreek George, I felt, got the touch and then went down in an unnatural way. Certainly not enough for Onana to bring him down as a penalty. The bottom line is it was the right decision.
Yeah, right decision, and it is still 0-0 with 27 still to go. This is Talksport on a Friday night, and the ball is left with Colwell. Colwell scoops it over Mazraoui. Mazraoui continues to run into him, and a yellow card is going to be given here, and Colwell is clattered. Now it's going to be a free kick over on that left-hand side. Let's go off to the Bescott Stadium in Walsall because there's been an important goal for Jeff Peters.
Walsall surely heading to Wembley. 1-0 up on the night against Chesterfield. 3-0 on aggregate. 9 minutes remaining. Cross from the right-hand side. Turned in from close range. May well have been an own goal. Walsall 1, Chesterfield 0. 3-0 on aggregate.
Walsall going to Wembley. And tomorrow's playoff second leg is live on Talksport 2 at 12:30 tomorrow. Make sure you join us for that. And live coverage of Wimbledon against Notts County comes from Ian Danter and former Arsenal winger Perry Groves will join us on Sunday in the Sunday session. But that's all before the FA Cup final, which is live on Talksport. And the build-up to the Cup final really kicks into gear from midday on Saturday. On Talksport, Ali Oladipo and Rory Jennings live on YouTube and your smart TV. The FA Cup pre-match party from Wembley Box Park on Talksport. Free kick on the edge of the penalty area then for Manchester United as they get things back underway. Mazraoui has been booked for that challenge, and as a result of that, he becomes the third Manchester United player to go in the referee's notebook tonight. And we've had a disallowed goal, an overturned penalty, but it's still 0-0. And with Aston Villa beating Tottenham earlier on today, the impetus firmly rests on the shoulders of Chelsea to try and get in front here. Casemiro up to Fernandes. Fernandes getting over the halfway line. He's being chased by Caicedo, but he switched the play into space on the left-hand side for Dorgu, who again delivers across to the far post. Sanchez is coming, and he's going to receive that high above the head of Amad Diallo, pull it into his chest and clear it away. The Chelsea supporters are getting irate, they're getting frustrated. They know what the Aston Villa score is, they know the state of play, they know that at the moment they're in a nasty predicament, Scott.
Yeah, and look, I think they're taking their wrath and their anger out on Robert Sanchez because he's come and caught the ball. And he's trying to look around to see who he can throw it to, and there was no one there, and they were, I feel, unfairly actually. I'm not his number one fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I just thought in that situation you're not helping.
Well, Manchester United are going to make a change, and they're going to bring on Ugarte and maybe Alejandro Garnacho as well, who has been linked with Chelsea. Onana forward, up towards Højlund, who gets into a battle with Tosin Adarabioyo. He wins the header, the big, tall central defender.
He's done well. He's done really well against Højlund. And you're right, Højlund's very quick. He's strong as well. He's got all the attributes, but I feel like he's still learning how to play that centre-forward role. Such a difficult thing to do when you're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world and the biggest club in the country, and the pressure. Again, the weight of that shirt. But feels like he wants to battle all the time, and actually he's got to be a little bit cuter, and Tosin's playing him well so far.
Mazraoui up towards Højlund. Højlund tries to hold off Tosin and then tries to do a little flick which was never going to come off. Colwell got involved and helped sandwich the Dane. The ball bounces kindly into the path of Robert Sanchez, and two substitutions about to take place. Ugarte and Garnacho for Mount and Casemiro. Bearing in mind we're almost hitting the 70-minute mark, maybe they were pre-planned. Here is Palmer, who's given the ball away cheaply after being harassed by Casemiro, and Lindelof has sent it down the right for Amad Diallo to attack for Manchester United. He gets into the box, he's still weaving, he goes down, and he's going to get a yellow card for diving.
I tell you what, that was interesting there as well. I mean, he looks so dangerous, doesn't he, when he runs at pace and then he comes inside, and once he's in the box, if you're a Chelsea player, you do not want to be sticking your leg out. And if you do, you need to make sure you get the ball.
Well, he went down after, I think, it felt like a little dangly leg out from Cole Palmer. I don't know if the VAR is going to check this for a possible penalty. But they are going to make a substitution in the meantime, and Casemiro is about to come off. Mount is coming off. Garnacho and Ugarte on, as we've already mentioned. There's the booze for Mason Mount, who I think will be a little bit disappointed with the way he is received here, having given so much to the club. Didn't want to leave, but has certainly decided that his future is in Manchester now and he's embraced Manchester United. VAR not quite ready to restart the game as of yet. Chris Kavanagh just holding the play and now deciding to play on, so there will be no overturn. Yes, and the VAR check on the penalty that was given for Chelsea and Tariq George did deem that Onana played the ball. That was the VAR explanation. Here is Palmer moving away with it over on the far side, and Caicedo looked to be the one who was closest to Amad Diallo when he went down there, by the way. That was a no penalty call, but I don't think it was as clear cut as a yellow card as a Chris Kavanagh thought.
No, I thought there was a little bit of contact, but just not enough to say that that's a penalty.
20 minutes to go. Here's Caicedo out wide towards the right hand side, hangs the ball out towards Neto, takes it down into his chest and then faces up Dorgu, plays it to Reece James. James, who tries to turn, gets it onto his right foot. Lovely little turn. Cucurella in there! Powers home a header, puts Chelsea in front and plants them back into the top 5 of the Premier League with that goal. Reece James with a brilliant turn and cross into the box from the right edge of the penalty area, and Marc Cucurella, so often a goal threat from Chelsea this season, launched himself into the air and into the path of the ball and thundered the header home, and Chelsea's top 5 hopes are still alive. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0.
Well, look, first of all, got to say, just unbelievable play from Reece James. What a little twirl that was, giving him the ability to put the cross in, and we know how good he is for the execution of his crosses. It was absolutely inch perfect. And what do we say, Sam, about Marc Cucurella, what he can do from left back? It's not an easy thing to do to affect the game, and yet he somehow finds a way to do it. Loves getting inside the box. Must be, what, 5'7"? No more than that. And yet he rises like, I'm thinking Mark Haitley from back in the day. Alan Shearer, you can say. Just a wonderful header, power header, giving Onana no chance whatsoever. I mean, questions will be asked about why he's so free, but brilliant play from Reece James, wonderful cross, and Marc Cucurella making a difference so far.
Garnacho coming off the bench and not really being able to deal with Reece James, not quite up to the rhythm of the game there, I think was a bit of an issue. This is how the table looks as a result of that goal. A pivotal goal for Chelsea, who lead by a goal to nil. Arsenal, second place, 68 points from 36. Newcastle, 66 from 36. In third, Chelsea up into fourth tonight, 66 from 37 play. Aston Villa, 66 from 37 in fifth. Manchester City into sixth position. Nottingham Forest in seventh, 65 from 36. Manchester City, 62 from 36. Nottingham Forest. It's all change in the race for the Champions League once more. And remember, it will unfold here on Talksport over the course of the weekend as well. Here's Palmer from Enzo Fernandez into Madueke. Madueke to seal it. Oh, he sent his shot wide. What a chance. 7 yards out. He leant back and steered it wide of the post. And it was a golden opportunity for Noni Madueke to make it 2-0 just moments after Chelsea have nudged themselves in front.
Well, United have been so disciplined so far up until now, but they've been so open, and so open there as well in the last couple of minutes. Wonderful pass from Cole Palmer. Brilliant touch from Madueke. That's the hardest thing to do, and then it's just slide it into the goal. And how he's even missed the target from there, my goodness me. If United are able to get a goal and get an equaliser, and there's drop points there, telling you now, Noni Madueke, as good as he has been, and he has been one of, if not Chelsea's best player, he will not be able to sleep tonight.
Here's Cucurella into Palmer. Palmer dispossessed by Ugarte. Cucurella tries to win it again, and it's cleared away by Mazraoui, and Amad Diallo is sprinting clear, and then it's kicked back to the goalkeeper by Robert Sanchez. Saw a replay of that goal again, and there's as much bounce in the boots of Marc Cucurella as there is in his curls. He got up really well there, didn't he?
Yeah, almost say a Cristiano Ronaldo there now, how he sort of rises.
He's launched the ball down the left touchline here, goes straight out of play. It's a throw into Manchester United. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0, live on Talksport. And what a difference that's made to the atmosphere inside this stadium.
And what I will say as well, Sam, you know, Enzo Maresca is still trying to win over these Chelsea fans, probably yourself included, but you know, if he doesn't say to Marc Cucurella and working it in training, you're allowed to go in there, when the ball's on the right-hand side, you can come in, and that makes it even more difficult to pick up, then he wouldn't be in there. So I've got to just doff your cap a little bit to the manager asking him to do it. I mean, I've been critical of him tonight. I don't see there's been any sort of changes, or even in terms of, you know, the front three trying to move it around. But again, asking Cucurella, yeah, you're happy I'm happy for you to go in there. You go in there. They've worked on that in training, you can see. Fair credit to him.
Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. For the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Chelsea at 7-1 on to win the game. The draw is 11-2. Manchester United to come back and win is 25-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Onana kicks clear from inside the 6-yard box, up towards halfway, chested down by James, who just narrows off and wins the ball. Sent wide for Enzo Fernandez, who scurries down the touchline. Across comes Patrick Dorgu, and it goes out for a throw. There's two balls on the pitch here, and the assistant over on the far side has to run down the touchline to deal with that. Wasn't moving particularly fast there, the assistant over on the far side, who I think is Scott Ledger.
He was running like Alex Crook, is that what you're saying?
Looks as if he'd done his hamstring as well, didn't he, there? Throwing on the near touchline by James into the path of Neto, who tries to put it through the legs of Dorgu. Dorgu brings him down. Referee says play on. Probably should have been a free kick, and Neto is just making sure everybody knows that, with a bit of histrionics. And it's a goal kick to Chelsea, who now, having got themselves in front, Scott, have got to make sure they maintain it, because Chelsea fans will tell you they have witnessed their team throwing away 13 points from winning positions since Boxing Day.
Next 15 minutes, absolutely crucial for Chelsea Football Club's season. Doesn't mean they're going to finish in the top 5, but it might mean they finish outside the top 5.
Here is Garnacho down the right-hand side, looking to get the better of James. James steps across his path, pushes him off the ball. Garnacho clutches his face, goes to ground. The referee doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, allows play to continue, and Garnacho eventually gets back to his feet. Neto at the other end is brought down by Dorgu. Dorgu, whose previous foul was a much more egregious transgression, has this time given a free kick to Chelsea on the wide right area. Doesn't look as if Romeo Lavia is preparing to come on for Chelsea as we approach the final 13 minutes of the game. Here is Pedro Neto into Tyreek George, trying to get it back to him. He was being held by Maguire, who's shotted him all night, really. The ball sent wide out towards the right-hand side. Colwell gets there ahead of Amad, and it goes out of play. Well, Chelsea know that only winning will do at this stage of the season. They've dropped too many points earlier in the campaign, too many points away from home. That will be concerning, because they play Nottingham Forest on the final day of the season. They might all be still up for grabs at that point. We won't know until next week. Here is Neto getting to the edge of the penalty area, trying to get into the box. All they can do is win tonight, and at the moment they're doing that. Neto into the area, getting onto his left foot, trying to get a shot away. Saved down low by Onana after a deflection. And Chelsea about to take off Tyreek George and bring on Romeo Lavia for the final 12 minutes of the game. Fernandez pinging the ball from the bottom of the centre circle out to Amad Diallo. Manchester United going to lose another game. This will be game 18 of the season that they've lost in the Premier League.
Yeah, but I think listen, it's about winning. It's about, and if you're not playing well, find a way to win. And if Chelsea do that, credit to them. It's not a game that United deserve to lose. Those sort of substitutes, I can understand why he's made them. I do think it was pre-planned, but it
did make a difference, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did.
Here is Amad Diallo down the right-hand side, taking on Cucurella, gets into the box, left-footed shot, saved by Sanchez at the near post. It's a save he should make, but it's a save that he had to make.
Yeah, absolutely. He should be making it, but he did make it. And Marco Cucurella, Amad is so difficult to mark when he's running at pace, and he comes inside, and Cucurella needs help. Someone's got to read this situation. And actually, he should have done better, Ahmad. He should have made sure that Sanchez had no chance whatsoever.
Bruno Fernandes about to come off to be replaced by Kobbie Mainoo. Aidan Heaven coming on for Luke Shaw for the final 10 minutes of the game. I think that's sort of an admission from Ruben Amorim that Wednesday is now the priority as the ball goes into Harry Maguire, who heads it down into the arms of Robert Sanchez, and it's cleared away. You're listening to Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they have got a van. So Manchester United will be 16th after this. Given away again by Chelsea. Robert Sanchez, the guilty party again, into Agate, and then on to Mazraoui, who might be offside here. He clips the ball into the box and it goes up. The flag.
Interesting. It was reasonably tight, but we could see it was offside, but the flag went up straight away, didn't it, rather than keeping it down and letting the play develop.
On comes Lavia, off comes Tariq George. First start for him, and a difficult first start, but certainly has made a contribution to the team, and over the course of the season has been very impressive. Tariq George, and deserves the applause and the appreciation from the Chelsea crowd that he is getting now.
He's a talented kid, there's no doubt about it. I've been really impressed with him in a Chelsea first team shirt. I thought at the start of the game there was a lot to ask to start a league match at Stamford Bridge against Manchester United, with it actually United side bang on it in that first half. But he would have learnt a lot tonight for sure.
Mainoo in for Fernandes, Heaven in for Shaw, as we told you earlier. And Manchester United make a couple more changes. This is Talksport, and we've got a few moments to go in the game, 10 minutes to go in the game. Reece James is coming over to the near side to get some tactical instruction from Enzo Maresca, who's now just trying to point out what he wants from the team. I think it means that they've got the back four as is, but Caicedo will hold with Lavia and Fernandes just a little bit further forward. Fernandes given licence to sort of play as the more aggressive front-footed midfield player, with Cole Palmer as the false nine and Madueke on the left and Neto on the right.
Yeah, it's basically Lavia comes in as that holder and everyone just pushes up one.
Here is Lavia on the ball after Caicedo wins it, played out wide towards the left-hand side, collected by Madueke, who dances down the left touchline, low ball into the near post, dealt with by Maguire and cleared away. 03717 223344 is the number to call if you want to get through to former Chelsea striker Carlton Cole and Adam Casserole on the Sports Bar Weekender from 10:30 tonight when we finish here at Stamford Bridge. We'll try and bring you some interviews from downstairs as well. And there has been some late goals in the playoff game for Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Walsall leading Chesterfield 2-1, 4-1 on aggregate. Dobra pulled one back for Chesterfield. Then Amanci made it 2-1 on the night. Q, massive pitch invasions. The Chesterfield players are still off the pitch. We're in added time. Walsall are going to Wembley, but we've still got a bit more time to play. Walsall 2, Chesterfield 1, 4-1 on aggregate.
Thanks, Jeff. And remember, all the playoff finals are live on the Talksport network. The Championship playoff final a week tomorrow. The League One playoff final on the Sunday, the same day that the Premier League comes to an end, and the League Two final on Bank Holiday Monday on Talksport 2. Here is Madueke, lovely turn, balletic turn, goes down the outside of Lindelof, then crumples, thinks he's going to get a free kick, isn't, and it's a goal kick away to our right hand side.
And do you know what, in what's been a poor Chelsea team performance, he's been stand out, hasn't he, Madueke? He's been really good down the left hand side. It's only recently he started playing on the left rather than the right.
If you had a criticism of him, Scott, it would be that he's had a couple of very good chances and hasn't taken them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's not your Mo Salah, your clinical guy that, I mean, who is? But in terms of talent, he's only going to get better, you would certainly hope. I think he enjoys playing under Enzo Maresca.
23 years of age, Noni Madueke. And he'll be one that's being watched tonight by Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, who was here a little earlier on today. And I imagine we'll be at Wembley tomorrow. Here is Madueke picking it up. Left-hand side, little swivel. Plays it into Neto. Neto on the right side, trying to get the better of Heaven. And Dorgu gets away from Dorgu and gives it to James. James to Enzo Fernandez, being trapped by Kobbie Mainoo. Back into Enzo Fernandez again, and he travels backwards rather than forwards, and Chelsea lead by a goal to nil. And rather than force the issue, it's safety first.
Have you got a lunch coming up with the England manager?
No.
No? OK. Just wondered if... I know you're a popular guy.
Here is Enzo Fernandez out towards Colwell over on the left-hand side. It's back to Cucurella, then up to Colwell. Yeah, I regularly go and meet people, Scott. You know that.
I know. Just thought he might want to get you know you more.
Yeah, it's sometime, I'm sure we'll say hello. Here is Neto down the right-hand side. Is he on my phone? Is he tracking my phone? Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. I know we're close, Scott, but stop stalking me. 5 minutes to go before the final conclusion of this game, and maybe a pivotal chapter in the Premier League race for Champions League places. It's back to Lindelof, then all the way through to Aidan Heaven. Heaven looking up, trying to nudge it forward into Mainoo, who's got to be careful because Caicedo was right up his backside and almost nabbed the ball from him. It's good pressure from Caicedo. Chelsea still leading by a goal to nil, and looking for a second. Here's Fernandez down the right onto Neto. Neto approaching the edge of the penalty area, tucks it infield to James. James now to Palmer. And Tosin Odorabayu sends it out towards the right-hand side, the left-hand side, and it's cut out by Mazraoui, who anticipated that. But then Colwell did the same as the ball was funneled forward to Amad Diallo, and he turns and tries to rev up the crowd on that far side.
I'll tell you what, both the Chelsea centre-halves has done well this evening. Tosin seems to be the last man, and Colwell sort of pushes in. And both of them have done very well indeed. And we talked about game management, and Chelsea are doing it well by being on the front foot, not just sitting back.
Maguire takes the ball into the left fullback position. He'll try and get it clear, but he overran it and ran it out of play, and all of a sudden Chelsea just feel as if the momentum has shifted and it's in their favour now. They lead by a goal to nil. The goal scored by Marc Cucurella, who could be the hero again. He's popped up with some really important goals this season. 5 of his 6 goals before tonight had come here at home. His only away goal in Warsaw. He loves playing in front of this crowd. He's an engaged member of the Chelsea team. He told TNT earlier in the season that he watches The Lion King on average twice a day. I wonder if that means he's got no worries for the rest of the day. And certainly if Chelsea put 3 points on the board, they won't have any worries this weekend.
He based his haircut on The Lion King as well.
He's got a mane, hasn't he? That's for sure. How can you watch The Lion King twice a day?
No, you can't.
Here is James in the right corner of the field, tackled by Garnacho, played off of James, and it will be cleared away, and maybe Manchester United will look to try and get this up the field quickly.
Good film though. Classic.
Yeah. I'd like to kind of know which one it was that he watched, whether it was the live action version or the animated version. Knowing Cucurella, it's going to be animated, isn't it? Because he is the most animated character in the team. Ball cleared away by Fernandez out to the far side. Manchester United have the ball. Looks like Malagusto is going to come on for Pedro Neto for the final few moments of this game. 2 minutes left of it. Chelsea leading by a goal to nil. A vital victory incoming for Chelsea. Again, Maguire has run out on this near side, tried to keep control of the ball, and then ended up running the ball out of play because Palmer had chased him all the way back.
Yeah, well done, Cole Palmer. It's exactly what you need from your star player, tracking back like that. Harry Maguire wanted to try and make something happen. He realises the game is just slipping away. They haven't played badly and don't deserve to lose, really, but they are just minutes away from losing. Trying to do something, but Cole Palmer stayed with him every step of the way.
Going to be defeat number 18 in the Premier League for Manchester United. It's going to be a vital win for Chelsea. Win number 19 for them. It will take them to 66 points and up into 4th position in the table. And it will give them a golden chance now of finishing in the top 5. Full time in the playoff game with Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Walsall are through to the League 2 playoff final. They've beaten Chesterfield 2-1 tonight, 4-1 on aggregate. All the goals late on. Lakin scored with 9 to play for Walsall. Then in stoppage time, Dobra levelled. Amanci grabbed Walsall second. Pitch invasion meant a bizarre delayed ending. Walsall off to Wembley in 10 days' time.
Cheers, Jeff. Thank you very much. Good night for the Saddlers. And it's Walsall who will go to the final. Will it be Notts County or Wimbledon who they meet in the final at Wembley? It's live on Talksport 2 tomorrow, that second leg. Ball out over on the far side with Mazraoui. And up to the halfway line. Poor ball forward by Ugarte. There's a late challenge by Ugarte on Cucurella. And that's going to result in a yellow card. Caicedo's not happy. They've gone to engage with Ugarte, who's now being pushed away by Chris Kavanagh, the referee.
He's losing his discipline, isn't he, Ugarte? He's one of the players who's come on. I'm not blaming him for the goal, but I do think both the subs weren't quite up to speed. The goal came within a minute or so, and he's chasing shadows at the moment. He just tried to push Enzo Fernandez over a little bit earlier when Cole Palmer was fouled. It's gone in late there.
I mean, would it be fair to say that Chelsea's sort of plan in the game actually was what we suggested, to just keep playing plan A? Manchester United might at some stage end up tiring, make a mistake or make alterations that let them into the match itself, and kind of that's what happened really. They took the subs off and Chelsea scored within a minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, didn't you, in the first half? That might be the way to do it. I think sometimes it's risky to do it because it wasn't as if Chelsea were dominating, and you can see just opening United up, and it was only a matter of time. It was a bit of brilliance. And again, I go back to it, I say it quite regularly. When I was here under Ruud Gullit, he used to say, I want you to do 2 things to affect the game, and Reece James certainly has done that, and Marc Cucurella as well. But this game has been decided on the moment, not really because Chelsea have put in a really good team performance. A great bit of play from James, a really good header, and a great run, you have to say, to get into the box in the first place, and then the finish from Marc Cucurella. But yeah, and you said it, and it happened within a minute or so with the subs coming on and Chelsea taking advantage.
Yeah, I think Ruben Amorim will be able to look at this performance and say, well, whilst we had our best team on the pitch, everything was going well, we know we can compete, we know we can play like that. Might give them hope going into the final against Tottenham. I don't know whether or not that team he selected tonight will be too far away from what he selects on Wednesday night, you know.
Well, what I saw from Mason Mount, I was impressed, I have to say. I think it was slightly better in the first half than the second.
Oh, mistake by Lindelof, has almost given the ball to Palmer, but Maguire's got him out of the hole, and it's cleared out on this near touchline and away for a throw-in.
And now Chelsea are doing to United what United were doing to Chelsea in the first half. That pressing, that extra energy. It's just amazing, Sam, what a goal can do. Somehow out of nothing, and suddenly it just takes the steam out of United, and it really lifts Chelsea and, of course, the crowd.
Enzo Maresca is trying to get the crowd to increase the noise as we go into 7 minutes of added time. Chelsea leading by a goal to nil. We're into the second of those 7 added minutes, with Enzo Fernandez going down the right-hand side and Kobbie Mainoo blocking his path. There was a very congested left side of the pitch here, with Manchester United getting hold of it, throw-in by Dorgu into Heaven under pressure from Palmer, and then he's given the ball away to Malagusto. It was a late challenge by him on Malagusto, and Aidan Heaven being Barrett. Cole Palmer is absolutely furious. The assistant on this near side is not happy either, and Aidan Heaven, having just returned from injury, is going to get a yellow card.
Well, that was what I thought it was initially. I was hoping for his sake, the youngster, that it wasn't an actual just stamp or showing the studs and going right in. I mean, it was a ridiculous tackle, really. He overran it, and he was never going to get there. Sometimes you just got to realise that, okay, I'm going to have to realise turn the ball over and stay on my feet.
Well, there's two players on the ground, wasn't it, that came together there. Malagusto was on the floor. He took a full set of studs into the shins, Malagusto, and they are checking for a possible red card, the serious foul play here by Aidan Heaven. Chris Kavanagh just waiting for instruction. His initial view was that it wasn't enough to be given as a red card. And I don't think that he is going to be called over to the monitor here. Reece James just getting an explanation off Chris Kavanagh as Chelsea prepares to take a free kick from the right-hand side. 94 minutes gone. Yellow card has been now confirmed, and the free kick will be given on this near side.
Yeah, and the positive for Chelsea is the clock's ticking. I don't know if the referee stopped his watch immediately, but we are into the 95th minute now.
Fourth in the league Chelsea will be up to if they continue with this scoreline. They lead by a goal to nil. It hasn't been a vintage performance, but it's been a successful one. Enzo Maresca said he had the duty to bring Chelsea back to the Champions League, and they're 90 minutes away from achieving that. They beat Nottingham Forest on the final day of the season. They will be in the Champions League next season.
Fascinating to see how Forest do at West Ham and then Manchester City, Bournemouth on Tuesday, and then we do go into the last game, and we could have, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams on 66 and Nottingham Forest on 65. With 2 places gone.
Well, Chelsea benefit from the fact that they play a rival for these European places on the final day, in a sense, because it means that they have the opportunity to knock someone out of the race. Aston Villa's inferior goal difference means that even if they finish level on points with Chelsea, they won't eclipse them, because Chelsea have a plus 11 goal difference over Aston Villa. Chelsea plus 20, Aston Villa plus 9. So it's in their hands. Here is Caicedo, as eventually we get the free kick taken on this right-hand side. Malagusto's back on his feet. Palmer forward. The ball went out of play. It's a goal kick to Manchester United. We're in the 96th minute of the game. We had 7 allocated minutes, but we've hardly played any of those. And it's going to be a yellow card for Cole Palmer, I think, for arguing away to our right-hand side. And Chelsea on the full press, almost won the ball back on the edge of the penalty area, but Lindelof has brought the ball away, and he's managed to get over the halfway line. Mazraoui into Kobbie Mainoo. A late goal now would be bad news for Chelsea, and they have given the ball away, and a free kick 20 yards back from the edge of the penalty area, and a chance for Manchester United to swing the ball into the box late on at Stamford Bridge.
And we are in the last minute of that added 7. I wonder whether there might just be 1 or 2 more. There's massive moments here for Chelsea Football Club.
Here is Amad Diallo's free kick. It's a deep one towards the far post. It's going to be Chelsea contact on it first. Cucurella then nudges it clear. Mazraoui's going to get there. So is Dorgu, and it's going to come back from Onana. The Manchester United players just about get back onside as he swivels beyond Madueke and then looks up, sends it forward. One last chance maybe for a Manchester United attack. Maguire allows it to run. It's picked up by Garnacho. He's got room. He's on the left side of the box. He sets it back for Ugarte. He takes the touch. Then it's on to Amad Diallo. He's stretching. There's a poor challenge by him, but Chelsea are breaking. Malagusto and Palmer, and Malagusto has been played through. He's on the edge of the area. He can't outpace Dorgu. Dorgu brings him down, but I think he was going down anyway. No free kick, no problem, and the ball's been brought clear by Manchester United. That was a chance to kill it, and Chelsea have had chances to kill it.
Yeah, they have, but they've also been killed as 30 seconds. United playing the ball, they're not getting the ball up there at all. One of the players is down. Forget about that, just get it up there. That's what they should be doing. There we go.
Ball long up towards Maguire. Maguire tries to flick it on. There's somebody on the pitch here who's come onto the playing surface.
Idiot.
And that's delayed the end of the match. It's going to add vital seconds onto the match. Colwell's complaining that there was an elbow from Maguire. Maguire is saying that the ball should be with them because the ball was in Manchester United's possession when this idiot fan came onto the pitch. He's been wrestled to the floor by some orange-wearing stewards. He's still trying to fight. Well done, fella. You'll never come back here again. What an excellent thing to do.
Absolutely. Man U may well have the ball here.
And Manchester United will get the ball because they were in possession, so it's an uncontested drop ball. And it's almost like a free kick now. And that fool in a Chelsea shirt, who's apparently supposed to be a Chelsea fan, has given Manchester United the advantage. And Garnacho moving down the left-hand side, goes beyond Enzo Fernandez, who looks as if he's committed a foul. The referee says he didn't. And then Chelsea bring it away. Lavia up into the middle of the park, tackled by Kobbie Mainoo. Palmer's got it, flicks it forward. Madueke was offside, and Onana's got it. They want the full-time whistle, the Chelsea supporters, and Chris Kavanagh obliges. After an absence of 2 seasons, Chelsea now know that if they beat Nottingham Forest on the final day of the season, then they will qualify for the Champions League again. Mark Cucurella gives them victory over a Manchester United side that gave enough to trouble them, but may just have been distracted in the final 10-15 minutes by Wednesday night's final in Bilbao. It means that Manchester United will finish lower than in any other season since they were relegated 51 years ago. Not the perfect preparation for Bilbao, but Chelsea will be preparing for the Champions League. They're massive favourites to reach it now. They've beaten United for only the second time in 15 Premier League games, but this was vital, this was necessary, and eventually this was done. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0.
The Blues are buzzing. It wasn't a vintage performance by Chelsea, but they've got the job done. Stamford Bridge in fine voice to give their heroes a fine farewell, cheering them on to what could be a special end to the season. Win at Forest next weekend, and they will play Champions League football next season, and they could beat Real Betis in the game after that to win a European trophy, the Conference League no less. For all the debate around Enzo Maresca and the big spending Blues, dubbed the £1 billion bottle jobs at one stage, if you'd offered them a game at Nottingham Forest for a place with Europeans elite, they'd have absolutely taken it. And their fans are celebrating, and once again, a few idiots running onto the pitch here at Stamford Bridge to try and get a photo. We get it. You'll never be back. Congratulations. Listen, let's take a look at what it means for the Premier League table, because earlier Aston Villa beat Spurs 2-0 to raise their own hopes of finishing in the top 5. Newcastle third, 36 games played, 66 points. Chelsea behind them, also on 66 points, played a game more, as have Aston Villa, who are also on 66 points. Manchester City with a game in hand, the FA Cup final, of course, tomorrow for them. 65 points, they're a position back, and Nottingham Forest in 7th on 62 points, 36 games for them. If Forest can beat West Ham this weekend and they beat Chelsea on the final day, they will finish above them. So that game could well be winner takes all for the Champions League, depending on how the other results go, of course. Manchester United, by the way, stay in 16th. Spurs stay 17th. Sportsbar weekend on the way from 10:30 this evening, including reaction from both managers and yourselves. What have you thought about what you've seen and heard tonight at Stamford Bridge at Villa Park? 03717 22 3344. Adam Cattrall and Carlton Cole will be with you shortly. Scott Minto alongside me, the former Chelsea defender. Just how big is that result as the Chelsea players, of course, do their lap of honour on their final home game?
Hugh, it's massive. Honestly, it is absolutely massive. When you think about how close they are. I mean, even look at Arsenal on 68 points, all the way down to Nottingham Forest on 62 points. And if results go for or against, we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next few days. Of course, City are playing on Tuesday. Going into that last game, it's going to be so close. But you just get the feeling with the City ground, and we'll see what happens if Forest do against West Ham. That City ground game, they needed to stay in it, which means they needed to win tonight. And that first half was poor.
Yeah.
It was really poor. And you know what? They found a way. You know, good sides do that. I wouldn't say they're the top side.
Did they improve much in the second half?
They did improve a bit. I mean, to be honest with you, up until that goal, not a lot. I mean, they were better, but that wasn't that difficult. Where they were really good was after the goal. They really stepped it up, and their game management was good. They were on the front foot. They weren't just sitting back and saying, right, try and break us down. No, they were taking it to United and actually not allowing United to have the ball in their own half, in Chelsea's half. So it was good for them in the last 20 minutes for sure. But it was not a great game. All decided on that, what was a brilliant goal.
Everything changed after the goal. All that arrogance and confidence that top sides have. Chelsea, this young side, really found it after the goal. It's what they really needed to have from the first whistle, and they'll be feeling delighted that Harry Maguire's goal was ruled out, because in fact from the start of the game Manchester United showed that they had some of that big team confidence coming here away to Stamford Bridge. In the end, the goal that won it from Marc Cucurella was taken fantastically well, and Reece James, who we thought was going to go off at half time with a bit of a knock, proved his manager right for keeping him on.
Yes, he did. And look, a fit Reece James, he's a right back. He can do a job in midfield, but he's a right back. And you know, if he's really fit and 100% and firing, he's one of the very best in the world, both defensively and offensively. Such an all-round player. But what he could do there, what he did there, the little twirl he did to create that space, and then a brilliant ball just played in behind the United defence. But Marc Cucurella, what is he, 5'7", maybe 5'10" with the hair flowing, up.
When he's sprinting, he gets a bit taller. Yeah.
Absolutely. For him to, get into that position and to have the energy to do that, then to have the football intelligence to get there, and then actually that was a really good header. It was a really powerful header. Yes, he was free, but still, it could have happened, where it's gone off the top of his head, or got it straight. He's concentrating so much on target that he's hit it straight at the keeper. Keeper's got absolutely no chance, and that one moment has now taken Chelsea to within 90 minutes of a Champions League. And then all the arguments of Enzo Maresca, well, if he gets top 5, I don't see how you can criticise him, but they're still one difficult game away from doing that.
Yeah, it will be a tough game at the City Ground. Cannot wait for that one on the final day. I'm sure we'll all be watching a really important victory for Enzo Maresca and Chelsea this evening. But what did Manchester United and Ruben Amorim learn? Amorim actually told our TV colleagues before the game he was playing a strong side here tonight. He said his team had time to recover before the Europa League final, but he felt a game against really good opposition away from home would be perfect in terms of preparation. And I wonder, did he get what he wanted from this evening? What do you think he will take away from it?
Yeah, I think he'll take a lot of positives despite the defeat. And again, we go back to, he won't come out and say I took a lot of positives, because again, he's trying to say we're Manchester United. The standards are as high as they could possibly be, and the result hasn't reflected the performance, in my opinion. I thought first half especially, they were very, very good. They pressed, they hassled Chelsea into giving the ball away all the time. And it's a big word, if that Harry Maguire goal was allowed, then they probably could have gone on to win the game, or certainly not have lost it. I think coming into the Spurs game, and obviously we haven't seen how Spurs play tonight, there's a lot of positive to take from that.
We won't take anything from how Spurs played tonight, because they played a B team, which I guess is going to be the big difference between the two of them. All the big stars from Tottenham Hotspur were rested away at Villa Park, and obviously Manchester United played a very strong team here this evening. The thing that gets to me for Manchester United really going into that game is, and I know Chelsea are a lot better side than Spurs over the course of this campaign, of course, is that even though they looked like they were somewhere near their best in that first half, they never really threatened, never really had clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities either. And okay, they might get more of those against the lacklustre Tottenham team over the course of the campaign, but you can't take masses away, huge confidence from it. I don't think that's the case.
No, I do agree with you, and we were being positive about them in the first half. Well, that's because it's a poor United side, isn't it, and where they are in the league. And what Ruben Amorim had been saying post-match against West Ham, where he wanted to have more of an effort and a belief and a never say die, and we saw that in the first half. But in terms of true quality, I agree with you. There wasn't a lot, really.
Ruben Amorim's Premier League record now, he's won 6, he's drawn 6, and that was his 14th defeat in the Premier League as Manchester United manager. Red Devils, you can have your say on it. Sports Bar Weekender on the way, 03717 22 33 44. The Chelsea players, injured, suspended players as well, making their way around the stadium. Lap of honour at the moment, taking the applause, of course, after their final home game. It is time for us, though, to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Well, Chelsea got through it, Scott, didn't they? The Manchester United players wanted to put their hands up for inclusion in that final. From either side, who would you choose?
Yeah, look, I thought Mason Mount did very well. I can see him starting on Wednesday. I really can. And they were all sort of 6s and 7s, to be fair, Manchester United. But look, you've got to give it to a Chelsea player. The two standouts for me are Marc Cucurella with his winning goal, that moment that has meant that everyone goes home with 3 points. But in terms of who had the most moments within the game, I liked Noni Madueke. I thought he was very good, and he gave Mazraoui a really, really tough time whenever he was running at him. That's what you want your wingers to do. When they get the ball, go at your fullback, try and get the cross in, and he did that more often than not. So I'm going to give it to Noni Madueke.
Madueke did it so many times, it took me back. A winger that just knocked it around their fullback. It's just beat him with pace and whipped it in. He did it so many times. And yeah, there was real quality from him throughout the game. So Noni Madueke of Chelsea, our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.